Admiral, radar shows that we have liberals approaching at 3 o'clock, and libertarians at 9 o'clock, and conservatives at 6 o'clock. They're coming from every angle, every viewpoint.
Can we pause to that? Did you start?
Yes.
Okay, go ahead.
Look at that. Now we get something going.
And he throws me under the bus. Thank you, Elliot, for switching last second who's introing us in. I am Jacob, and welcome to the mess that is the Political Radar Green Bay spring live election.
There you go.
Reaction,
Yeah.
live stream fun time. My name's Jacob again, joined by Elliot.
Hey.
Broke it.
Yeah. You know, you only have to acknowledge. You don't have to acknowledge the mistakes. You don't say it, nobody else will know.
Yep.
And who else?
And Wendy's here.
I'm here.
Wendy's our opening guest. Wendy Coriel.
Hi.
So we want to, there you go. Said that's over me, so I move out of the way. Your graphics were well done. It's great that you did the graphics ahead of time. I appreciate that. So I think what we kind of want to lead off with is our, you're not going to adjust that, are you really? Never mind. All right. So I think what I'd like to do is like go through the our list of our little poll that we had. So,
The last time I looked, Shelby's Cupcakes were winning that poll.
okay, that's weird, but good. That's probably good. I think that's good. I want to go to group. So the other thing I wanted to ask you that I should ask you before we went live, are we going to be able to put results up?
No. What kind of show do you think this is?
So yes.
One with a budget?
So yes or not?
No.
Not at all? Like we can't like
You
plug-
should have talked to me like, yeah.
Like, can I plug my HDMI in anywhere or not?
Maybe if you had brought this up to me this
I
morning.
just thought of it right now. I'm sorry. Okay. So I will take the heat for that. Bad planning. I'll print it out on my iPad and hold it up to the camera. So, all right. So. Hey, I didn't promise anybody anything. Nobody should be watching it. The polls aren't even closed. So.
Okay, so
Am I supposed to keep talking the whole time? Is that what you guys are trying
That's
to apply? All right.
kind of why you're here.
Okay. All right. So anyway, I wanted to pull up the list. So the list that we have. So I put a little poll out. I wish I could give a URL directly to the poll, so anybody that wanted to could get in on it. But so Cupcakes by Shelby Moore. So they are like this.
This is epic, though.
Yeah,
It is epic.
So I didn't try mine yet, so I will have to do that. So that is winning with 8 votes. Is that right? That is kind of crazy. So, and you know, there probably are some other silly ones too. Oh, am I too far off? Really? Am I actually quiet? People are turning their volume up, so that sucks to be them. So next on the list was roads. So I put a few on just to kind of seed the poll a little bit. The idea, I think, the thing that people are most interested in is the mayor race, and I think the topic most people are most interested in, and correct me if I'm wrong, Jacob, but I would say roads, right?
Roads and taxes, which are very much correlated together.
Yeah. I don't know. What do you think, Wendy?
What do I think? People, roads and taxes and weed. Yeah, sure, absolutely.
I mean,
I totally agree.
well, so the very next one is Wendy's weed. Very close third place, right?
It's like right behind roads.
Yeah.
With
So
what,
and
like
we
four
yeah,
people?
and so we will dig into all these. So like certainly we'll give the highest precedence to the top vote getters. But I want to read the list because I think it's a fun list. So then Joe Prosser put on Green Bay debt and how it relates to campaign promises. So that's long enough and specific enough, but yet not.
Right.
But so I think we got to talk about that. That'll be interesting. Then who has the cooler hue of red hair? Jacob, Wendy, or Elliot? I think that's very
Should we
clear.
get that?
I think
Have
that's
a shot of my
I think it's very obvious, but whatever.
Place your votes.
Proper parking that was added by my friend Todd. I think that's a joke from my UWGB parking fiasco.
Okay.
I added the police state, which is sort of a joke about the one of the candidates.
I voted for that one too.
Yeah, but yet not, because I think we do have a problem of incarcerate first and ask questions later. I think we have an issue overall, not just in Green Bay. Then I feel like we have a cupcake overload here because Joe Moore and cupcakes is added again.
Wait, my
Well, I'm
question
just
is, which
tying
one's-
that into.
What's more
the
popular,
first
Joe
one.
or the cupcakes?
Yeah, which is more popular?
Well, because the two topics actually tie in together because the cupcakes became a topic because of the primary and what Shelby had brought to the party, to Joe's party.
Okay.
They were little cupcakes just like this,
But now
except they had
this
yellow
one's-
frosting. They looked like they
we're
looked
gonna
like
cut off
they had
the
a
bottom
little
three.
bit. They're the little yard signs.
We're gonna cut off the bottom three topics.
What do you got? Looming tax? What? No looming tax increases?
No.
Oh, okay.
And then Rob Clarkson put which Christensen brother is their mom's favorite,
I can answer that.
which would be super funny,
None of them.
but that is so true. Jacob. My mom's not on Facebook, and so it's pretty safe that she's not watching this. But I'm pretty sure I took up the. I don't know if you count that as top or bottom spot. I'm pretty sure I'm back up on top of the worst.
I have literally no idea what you're talking about.
In terms of like who's. So my mom doesn't have a favorite; she has a least favorite. So like I'm on the top of that list, top of the worst. That's how it works. That's how our
Should
family's
we just
structured.
cancel this event?
This is what the people want to know. This got 2 votes. So I answered the question. All right. So I don't know. Let's take it from the top, right?
Okay.
Should we just we want to talk about these things before we get actual results, right?
Yeah, I think so. Well, I guess my question for you before we go into anything else
Yeah.
is, what was the most important race? Because you mentioned, a lot of people want to
School
know
board.
about. Interesting. I'd say state Supreme Court.
Screw that. I don't know. Maybe. Why do you think so?
Well, I think it's an important election in the first place, but also because of the current standings with Evers between, does he have the power, does he not, to do things with the whole situation that happened with Scott Walker, got booted out of office and all that. And I think that's important. Certainly.
Yeah.
Certainly the parties think that's important. That's why the Democrats and Republicans have been just dumping money into that race.
So in terms of like my day-to-day life and the day-to-day life of people in Green Bay, I guess I view things in terms of like what's more local, right? So that's just so far removed from what I care about. So
What do you think, Wendy?
All of them. All of them. Absolutely.
Yeah.
I am most
Yeah.
interested in the mayoral race, but
Yeah.
you might be right with the school board being the most important and the most, what's the word I'm looking for? Like basically it could really affect the outcome depending on
Well, I'm
who
sure
gets that. I guess mayor too, really.
the school board is going to be also really interesting because almost, a considerable number of the people who are on ballot have been on our shows before and talked with us.
Right. So I mean, I guess that's I'm a little biased on that, right? So I think that's where I think my interest lies because I have talked to all of them. So I'd like to, I guess I have a personal interest in seeing how they fare in the election.
Did you vote, Elliot?
I did. I'm not going to talk about who I voted for on school board.
Okay.
But I will tell you that I voted for Joe Moore.
We're getting.
Yes!
That's two.
I mean, he showed up here. What am I going to do? What am I going to do? I'm gonna lie to his face if I have
to. At least 3.
Now, Wendy, you are not a Green Bay resident.
I am not a Green Bay resident. I am a Michigan resident. 100%
temporary.
Period. We'll see. We'll see what happens tonight.
You're the most Green Bay person that doesn't live in Green Bay that has ever existed.
I know.
Outside of Florida.
Even inside of Florida.
I mean, I don't know. Florida's a weird place. We can't even talk about Florida. Yeah. So I don't know. I mean, I totally get your point about the Supreme Court, and I guess I just sort of blocked that from my mind because the ads were overwhelming. I hardly watch TV, but boy, if anybody has it on, I wouldn't want my children near these two people. They sound terrible.
I'm gonna throw someone under the bus for a moment.
Yeah.
Is that okay?
I mean, is somebody here?
Wendy, can you tell us about the politics over there in Michigan?
What politics in Michigan?
That's my point.
What are you getting at?
I'm asking Wendy how things are different politically there from here.
There is what I have experienced. There's not even a sense of community there beyond. There's a Menominee Marinette board that people will post to talk about just, I don't know. There's nothing intelligent about this board. It's a lot of people fighting. The politics, I don't know. I haven't really wanted to touch them, so.
Yeah,
I haven't really been interested. I don't really feel like I'm a part of that community beyond the cannabis community, so I just stick to my circles there.
So the local Menominee.
I mean, there could be an election going on there for all I know tonight, and I don't.
Okay.
That's how disconnected I am from that world.
Mm-hmm. Is that what you're getting at?
I think so.
Yeah.
I think that was pretty interesting.
But they're kind of a purple state like we are. They flip back and forth. They have very red areas, very blue areas. Things are, what's his name? Ted Nugent lives there, but yet, Detroit is there, right? So, it's a very strange place. But they beat us on marijuana legalization. So I don't know. I mean, how do you think that Supreme Court race will impact citizens of Green Bay? How do you see that playing out?
Are you thinking maybe one side will be pulled into it because they're voting on that particular issue, which makes them, vote down ballot? Is that kind of what you're getting at?
I'm not getting at anything. I'm just trying to figure out maybe I'm overlooking. Maybe I'm downplaying that. Maybe that's more important than I'm thinking. Do you think that the marijuana is going to come up as a Supreme Court issue in Wisconsin? Or do you think that something else big is going to come up that I don't know about? I mean, what are the big partisan issues that are apt to come up in Wisconsin? Is there some abortion thing coming up that I don't know about? I don't know what else would be a really hot button thing.
I don't know.
No, okay. I mean so that's where I'm getting at. I guess I kind of didn't care. So from my standpoint, in terms of what I was looking at is all I could kind of gauge that on was I don't know what I could kind of see publicly, the endorsements and the idea of freedom and not wanting to incarcerate people unnecessarily. That's kind of a my eyes have been kind of open on that, right? We have a problem with that. We incarcerate more people than Soviet Russia ever had.
That is a true fact.
Yeah. So I mean, I have a big problem with that. So, and especially when a good amount of that tends to be. Well, I mean, obviously, if we incarcerate that many people, most of it can't be. We don't have more bad people than other countries, right? So most of it, almost by definition, has to be not that terrible of things going on, right? So a lot of it has to be things that are nonviolent crimes or things that could be poverty related, but I think a lot of it is probably marijuana related or other minor drug offenses. I think that other drugs should probably be we should be looking at legalizing almost all of the recreational drugs and especially medicinal things and look at treatment options. I think it's what we're doing is so backwards.
That sounds great. I'm down with that.
Yeah. And then Wendy can stop being mean to me.
I'm never mean to you.
It's actually black and white. You were super mean.
When?
Yeah, on Facebook. When I was yelling at you on Facebook, then you were like...
Oh! Oh, right.
Yeah. So, anyway, are we going to talk about the cupcakes? Because that's our top thing.
Yes, sure.
So
I will give you the...
So I didn't have a cupcake, and I don't really want to eat it.
Yes, you do.
No.
Yes, you do.
On camera, we want to listen to my mouth.
Yeah, sure.
What we need right now is pure pressure.
No.
Yep.
Can we get a view count of how many people are watching this on YouTube?
3.
Like you can. There's 3 people. No.
Currently 14.
Really?
Yes.
Awesome. So yeah, you totally should.
11 more than 3.
11 people watching me eat a cupcake.
11 people.
I mean, it's the #1 vote getter.
No, I know.
As many people voted as are watching.
They are delicious. Now,
see, Wendy's got that first screen.
the reason why there's even cupcakes.
That is super delicious.
Shelby had baked these same cupcakes for
I didn't
the
have any when I
election result
started.
viewing party for the primary, except they had like was it yellow frosting or was it?
It was white.
Was it white frosting? But she made like little signs, little Joe Moore yard signs on toothpicks and stuck them in. It was the cutest thing ever.
All right.
That was
Cupcakes
that was the real winner of the primary election. Just in case
You're
anybody's
going to give us
wondering.
a full review of...
I think you should go into the cupcake making business. I don't know if there's a lot of money in the cupcake making business, but
There can be.
But they're pretty amazing. Yeah. Yeah. Like I don't like cake. Like for my birthday, I want some other sort of dessert usually. So these are really good though. Yeah. I don't know. What else am I supposed to say about cupcakes?
I don't know. But I'm looking at that topic and I'm like really roasting under this light and I'm wondering if we shouldn't just quickly talk about Wendy's weed and then go to Rhodes, but like pull Joe on for Rhodes so I can cool off.
See,
and
the funny thing was I was kind of thinking the same thing.
Really? We can do that.
All right. Talk about Wendy.
Yeah, talk about the weed.
Get it over with.
Okay, well I don't really guide me because I think I do a great deal of talking.
Well,
about
all right.
weed.
So I put the topic on there, but I think a number of people said okay. All right. So and I don't think you're alone.
Mm-hmm.
And I think this actually, circle back. I think a large number of the people that voted for Barack Obama voted for him for the same reason, because he implied that he was going to make some effort towards legalization.
Right.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And I think a certain mayoral candidate has made some of those same gestures,
Mm-hmm.
and you've been kind of vocal about that.
Mm-hmm. Well, he actually didn't just make the same gestures. He flat out said he supported decriminalization, supported at least. Now, I did think that his position.
That doesn't count.
When I did that interview, I believe it was actually before the primary, and there was one of his opponents had a stronger position on cannabis. His was kind of weak. He supports, basically doing medical first and then going to state, but decriminalization at the city level. And yeah, I have been vocal about it because, with the Green Bay sausage, actually before I took on the cannabis issue, I had a following of maybe 800 people. And once I took up that topic, it's exploded. And we had record numbers of people show up to speak at those county board meetings. What is going on? What do you mean?
I did.
Here you go.
Oh, okay. I think you're supposed to.
What's going on?
You're supposed to. You're supposed to affirm the craving.
What's going on? What am I doing?
Oh,
What?
It's weird looking at myself, so I don't want to do that anymore.
You spent like a bunch of time looking at yourself going,
You're just
so
supposed to. You just
beautiful.
gotta give your friend a shout out there.
Okay, wait, what? I'm watching because I'm the new president of the Wendy J. Coriel fan club. There's one of those? Sweet.
So just give your friend a shout out.
Hi, Michael.
Okay, there you go. Okay, carry on.
Now you threw me on, like,
I didn't.
You did?
The president of your fan club did.
Well, and yeah, that, I mean, that.
Come on. Put the blame where it belongs.
So, I forgot where I was going. But anyway, he granted me that interview. When I did that interview with Genrick, I had actually talked to...
Is it Genrick or Genrich?
I don't know.
I've heard it both ways. What is it?
I'm calling him Genrick.
Okay.
And if he doesn't like that, I can come up with something else to call him.
I got all sorts of things to call him too. But I want to know what our next mayor is, what his actual name is.
Nobody knows now.
So I'm not alone? Because I've heard this, I've heard people, and I have heard individual people, perhaps at the forum, the same person may have called him both names.
Really?
Yes. Yeah, listen to it again. I'm pretty sure she called him both names.
Well, he actually didn't even really seem like he wanted to talk to me. Randy was all for talking. Randy Scannell talked to me about the cannabis issue, and Dave Hansen talked to me. But I was actually going there hoping to get somebody even bigger than them, and I didn't. But I talked to who would talk to me. And Eric was one of those people, and I'm kind of grateful because if somebody, especially somebody that's known to be sometimes a little sassy, I guess, just sticks a camera in your face, it's like, hey, talk about weed.
Yeah.
You know,
So
I got to give him that.
Who's known to be sassy?
Me.
Oh, okay.
Me.
Well, I thought.
Well, at least as far as party Democrats are concerned, I think I'm kind of sassy. I don't think that I'm like that sassy, like in general, but as far as that party line,
Yeah.
it seems like I don't know. I'm too sassy for them. I think.
I think we're gonna get you out of that party nonsense.
I want to go to a party though.
There-
That's no.
We have party. We can have parties without.
Oh,
that.
you mean political party? I thought
Yeah.
I thought you were telling me I could
Well, I
go
don't
to
know.
a party tonight. I was.
What were you talking about?
I was talking about a party. I was
Oh,
going to go to
okay.
a political
Actually-
party at some point tonight, maybe, like, you know.
Okay. Can we change that word? Because that is.
Isn't it a dumb word? Like, this
Who came up with that?
a party? This is like the last thing that's even close to
Yeah.
a party.
No,
It's an
bizarre. It's like a
association
cult.
of. Okay. Yeah.
Huh?
Good word.
It is. I'm thinking about the convention that's down in Milwaukee and the money they're spending, and I'm like, that's a cult. That's a cult. There's no other word for it. And if it was the Republicans, it'd be also that's an even stranger cult right now, especially. Yeah. So, all right,
Okay.
you're out.
I'm out.
Let's talk about roads.
I've got to keep my cupcake here. You want to?
You want to talk about roads? Oh, does Lily want to talk about roads? Everybody just wants to see your pink hair, and then she can come in. And
Right, we'll bring her
we'd
in.
rather talk about her anyway. She's got 14 fans yet?
I think when you said roads, viewership dropped down to like 4.
Well, but okay, but
For only 9.
But Lily's gonna come on, so we gotta make sure.
Bring the ratings, kiddo.
What?
Come here.
Yeah.
You bring the ratings.
Yeah.
No problem.
This is gonna be recorded, so
All
more
right.
people will watch it.
This is Lily.
Hey, Lily.
Hi.
Yeah. So we're gonna talk about roads. Actually, I want to hear about your tree issue.
Oh yeah, you want to talk about the tree? What happened today?
It got chopped down.
Yeah. So okay, but this was on Webster Avenue, right? And so what was going on, and why did it bother you?
That is my favorite tree.
Yeah. So why did it get chopped down? What's going on with that?
Because of a power line.
Yeah.
Because Webster's getting bigger.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So what should we do differently instead of chopping the tree down?
Moving it.
We should move the tree. Yeah.
How about for everyone they chop down, they plant 2?
Yeah.
Think that's a good idea?
Yeah. Was that your idea? Yeah.
Should we ask them? Should we ask the city to come and plant a couple of trees there?
Yeah.
We can do that.
Yeah. Like they should have to do that. Isn't that like the law already? Should be. I don't know. They got all sorts of other stupid laws. Why isn't that one of them? Yeah. I'm with you on that. I think that's good. So what was the deal with your tree? Was it like, did you like hanging out under it? Was that in your yard or not? Nearby?
Yeah.
Oh, it's nearby. Oh, okay, yeah. You don't. I don't know. I don't want to. I'm not sending any stalkers your way. It's not like that. I'm just curious.
Yeah, it was right on
So
the
it's like a
corner
big
of
old
our
tree,
yard, right? Yeah.
or was it like? Can we replace it with 2 young trees, or was it a big old tree that?
Big one, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Can't put your arms around it.
Yeah, that kind of sucks. Like that, that we had a big old tree in our backyard once, and it was just like we had to cut it down because it was causing problems, and that but you love that, right? It's like the tree is older than the people that live there. Kind of, it's a bittersweet thing. Yeah, I totally get that. But jerks like that want to have bike lanes put in. So.
Yeah, you're talking to the bicyclist here.
Oh, you like bikes?
5 mile rides.
So what do you? Okay, all right. So aren't you a little bit torn?
Kind of excited because they're gonna put a big trail right there.
Yeah, so that's why they're doing it. That's part of the reason they want to widen the road for bike lanes.
So now it's okay. Still
not okay.
Oh.
But you understand where the problem is, all right? Yeah. I mean, I want to beat up on the city more than anybody, believe me. But you understand the tough issue there, right? Yeah. Right. Don't you hate that? Don't you want the issues to be like black and white? Like I do. I always want the issues to be black and white. Like the Bears still suck. That's easy.
They do, don't they?
We can all get behind that one, right?
But what you were talking about on the way here, Lily, what was when we were at home and you were practicing a little bit? What is the biggest issue facing Green Bay for kids? Littering.
Yeah. So, where was the place where the fine was increased? Was that in Milwaukee?
Yeah.
Was it
$500? Yeah, Milwaukee.
You know what? So, what do you think about that? What's the deal with that?
If someone litters, they have to pay $500 if the police see them.
So
in Milwaukee, do you think they should do that in Green Bay too?
You do? So so if you accidentally, eat a cupcake and the wrapper blows out of your hand, $500, you're good with that?
Why don't you just chase it?
I'm asking you. That's your plan? You'd chase it down? Maybe. I mean, so I'm sort of with you on litter. So when our business was down on Broadway, I'd walk down the street for a meeting. I would pick up trash along the way. There's garbage cans. I don't know why there's any litter on the street, but I'd pick up stuff along the way. I don't know why everybody else wasn't doing that, but I think everybody should try to do their part on those things.
You do that?
I believe you probably do. And I think it's just in certain people's nature to want to take care of the environment or whatever you call it, right? You just want things to be better. I don't clean up my room that much, but I want to clean up the other people's rooms. It's a sickness. I don't know what it is.
What do you think? You'd rather have a clean outside or a clean bedroom?
Clean outside.
Clean outside.
Yeah, we're the same.
Where you spend most of your time?
We're the same.
All right. Do you have anything else you want to share?
No.
No?
Yeah?
Any other questions you want to ask?
Tons. Yeah, but we'll be
She's
here.
engaging. Viewership's up to like 300 now.
We'll be here for a while, so you can come back.
You can come back over if you have something to say, all right?
You can come back next time too.
Thanks, Lily.
Yeah. Yeah. So, all right.
I like
so
her.
tell me the boring stuff. Roads.
Yeah.
All right.
Oh,
So
he puts the pink hat away. It is serious
Yeah.
time. Look at that.
well, you
I
got
will see the glare. The
you got
light
the
is pretty,
heat. It's like 20 degrees outside, and it's like 8,000 in here. I'm gonna take my sweatshirt off actually. My brand new Pixies sweatshirt.
a different way of wearing it.
Went to the Pixies concert the other night. Got a sweatshirt.
This is good.
Nice.
That doesn't
Yeah.
make you cool, Elliot.
No, it doesn't. But all right. So, okay. So at the forum, I was just. I had my laptop out so that I had something to hold on to, so that I didn't just start throwing things.
Right.
I mean, these two. See, I'm out of control. I'm out of control. So these two, they're discussing the issues, but the wheel tax. I was told many times, multiple people to my face. Well, we gotta have a wheel tax. We gotta have a wheel tax because we gotta fix the roads. We need a wheel tax. We got to fix the roads. There's no other way because we got to fix the roads.
Right.
And then out of Genrich's mouth, I hear, well, it's a great funding mechanism that other communities are using. And of course, it's not tied at all to the roads at all. There's nothing forcing them to use it for the roads.
Forcing would be, I think, the constituency and the residents that are forcing them to use it on the roads. It's meant to eliminate the assessment. I mean, that's what the wheel tax does.
But it's not tied to it. And there's going to be a budget shortfall anyway.
Sure, there will. I don't know. Every proposal we had very specific use of the wheel tax. So unless this last council got a completely different proposal,
Yeah.
then Genrich doesn't know what he's talking about. Because
I see what it is. When we're serious about him, then he's Genrich. When we're being friendly and flippant, then he's
so,
Genrich.
you know, I thought that's how he pronounced his name at the forum when we had the primary.
I thought so too.
But then maybe he said Genrick. Because
That's
now
true, that it's-
Doug Schneider said maybe people will stop pronouncing his name Genrich. But I always thought it was that for the last 6 years. I thought it was Genrich. So, well, look, okay, so he will probably be the next mayor, and nobody will be able to get his name right, but nobody can get Jim Schmidt right.
That's true.
Nobody can spell it after 16 years. I mean,
That's
come
true.
on.
That's true. That's true.
Every time we've had to write his name somewhere or anything, I always have to like triple check to make sure it's right.
Well, autocorrect even corrects it because it's not the common spelling.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's fair. I mean, I guess I'm.
Whatever. So let's call him G.
Let's
Mayor G.
Let's not do that.
Well, Mayor G would give him a hip edge. Mayor G would give him a hip edge that he just simply does not.
Don't you feel like he's got the hip edge?
No, I don't.
And that's why.
But
I do not see a hip edge.
As
I see a
counter,
accountant.
Mayor Eric sounds very pleasant and neighborly.
Mayor Eric.
I don't know how you explain it to me.
Oh, who's the guy who's in charge of all of this? Oh, that's Eric.
My brother's name is Eric. There's nothing wrong with the guy's named Eric. There's nothing wrong with that.
Look,
I'm not saying there are.
If this wheel tax was such a debated issue,
Yeah.
that if this wheel tax was not dedicated to the roads, we would have heard about it. Chris Weary would have been all over Facebook, putting that everywhere, and he was not. So I mean,
I'm so confused now.
look, the wheel taxes for roads.
So don't you think though that the place to really stick to your guns on something like that would be in a forum?
I would think so.
That they
I would
didn't.
think so.
Was I in Bizarro land where I heard that wrong?
Oh, I think it's because it's tax. You know, it's tax, and you're talking to people that you want to vote for you. So
Well, he wasn't saying I'm going to get rid
so
of it.
you simply
he's
stirred
saying
it.
he's saying I'm going to give you some more taxes on top of it. And people are like, yeah. I don't get it.
All right.
I don't know. Part of that, I guess, shows. I mean, even with the wheel tax thing being such a contentious issue, pretty much since it was first brought up,
Right.
how split we are here.
Was it?
You know?
I feel like I was the only person that was saying, "What are you talking about wheel tax?" I felt like everybody's like, "Oh yes, we absolutely need a wheel tax. I'm happy to pay a wheel tax."
Well,
to
we're
fix the
certainly in a
roads."
way where we were
Well,
like, you know.
But
this
they
is
kept
better
saying
than-
it in the context of, "I'm happy to pay a wheel tax to fix the roads," and I'm just like, so we were irresponsible fixing the roads, so let's pay some more money.
The wheel tax offsets $700,000 in assessments, and you've got $1 million of revenue coming in, so you have $300,000 left over. You continue to bond the same amount you've always bonded. You end up fixing the same amount of streets you've always fixed. So you apply the extra $300,000 toward road repairs. Or in the proposal that we saw when I was still on the council and that we were moving forward, the extra $300,000 would be used toward bridge repairs, which, look, our bridges are stuck all the time. They always need work.
I would put
And-
that in the road repair
Right.
column, though.
And railroad crossings. And I mean, so it was all road related, curb and gutter, you know, it wasn't being applied to sidewalks. It wasn't being applied to overtime for the police department. It wasn't being applied in other
I
places.
think if it was applied to sidewalks, people would be like, it's like
Right,
it's-
people will still get assessed on their sidewalks.
Yeah, they are.
Well, they pay for them, basically.
Yeah.
The city contracts are way better than them doing it themselves. You know, there's an argument on the sidewalks, I guess, but you want to have sidewalks. You don't want somebody tripping on it.
But you pay the taxes. That's what the taxes are supposed to pay for. This isn't really a complicated philosophical discussion. Paying the taxes and then saying, "Oh, here, here's the bill for the thing that you thought you already paid for with your taxes."
Right.
My brother, I might have told you this before, but so my brother, he had, his house was he's got 3 streets. Boom.
That stinks.
But he didn't know that was a thing when he bought the house. Most people don't.
Yeah.
Unless you know, you don't know until you know.
Right.
It's not a thing. You don't they don't teach you that in school.
No. No. Hey, there's still people who don't know what's going on with Webster Avenue. There's,
Yeah.
Well, let's talk about this text message I got this morning asking who the Democrat is because the ballot doesn't say. I mean, people are
Tell that story.
uninformed.
Tell that story. That
Yes.
was great. Oh my God.
7:40 this morning, I get a text message. And I get a lot of text messages from a lot of people I don't know.
Yeah.
And it said, "Hey, this is Neil. Hey, Neil, if you're out there,
Yeah.
nice to see you. I'm sorry I don't know you."
Yeah. Well, you probably know multiple
But
bills.
Neil says, "Hey, this is Neil. I'm at the ward ballot voting place, or ward voting place, whatever he termed it. I could look it up, but whatever."
Yeah.
And he said, "My ballot doesn't say what party the candidates are for mayor."
It's supposed to.
And then it said, and then he texted, "Which one is the Democrat?" And I said, "Write me in. You know me." And I said, "And if you don't know the other candidates, you'll have to ask someone else." And he said, "Yes, but you're not a Democrat." And then he texted back a little while later and said, "Hey, the lady said Eric Genrich is." I said Genrich this time.
I don't know.
Genrich?
Somebody will correct.
Eric,
Yeah.
Mayor G is.
You know what? You know what?
I said thank you. I just said thank you for being
I
an
think
informed
I've
voter.
gone
I just didn't even
for-
know what else to say.
No on Mayor G.
Okay, so
I'd be down with Mayor G.
so we don't know if this was somebody that was just at the poll or if it was a poll worker. And I don't know that it's illegal,
Right.
but I kind of feel like it's just wrong. I feel like it's like an unethical thing for the poll workers to be giving advice. Because you're not allowed to campaign near the polls.
Right.
So I feel like that's sort of in that vein.
Yeah,
just
I don't
don't-
know.
I just
But
don't
there are
like
some
that.
people that need assistance with voting. I mean, they were doing the curbside voting for
That's not
people that
assistance.
can't get out of the truck and whatever it might be, and
What if
you don't want to keep somebody
What
from
if she
voting
got it
either.
wrong?
That's, yeah.
You know what I mean? I don't.
Well, she can't say Pat is this and Eric is this
Yeah.
and there's a write-in. She couldn't say that
Right.
unless he said, "Is there a write-in?"
Right.
Then she could say yes.
Yeah.
So there are rules that govern it. But
Yeah.
I
So I don't know if
know.
everybody knows that. So go over that again. So you, of course, are
Yeah.
write-in candidate for mayor,
Right?
and talk about that process again, just briefly.
Sure. So registering was easy enough because I had already registered in the primary. So my paperwork was basically all filled out already. It's campaign registration and finance registration. And all I had to do was just basically type up a letter, send it down to the city clerk, amending my registration to say that I was going to be a write-in candidate for the general election for mayor. So basically how I want my name and what office I'm running for as a write-in. And that's all I had to do. When I'm all done,
But you had to do it.
but I did. I did have to do it
just so that I could write your name in there.
so that it's counted. So everybody that's out there writing other names or writing themselves, they're not registered. It's not even looked at. I mean, it'll tally when it goes through the ballot machine as a write-in, but they're not going to look at it and say Mickey Mouse 6 votes.
It does kind of seem like that defeats the purpose of a write-in candidate.
Does to me.
It makes it difficult because, and now the city, the city clerk, of course, puts the candidates up on the website. There's an elections tab and all the information you could possibly want, but they cannot put my name there. They can't even mention that there's a write-in candidate. So it's all on the write-in to go on, get on political radar and get the word out and stuff that
Right.
they're actually doing it.
Right.
But you know what else I find is none of the media, nobody even reached out and asked me about it.
Nope.
Nobody's commented on it. Every poll, everything you see, there's no mention of a write-in. Now I understand I'm so far behind the eight ball here. You know, it's not like I'm going to go out and win this thing. But
You know why?
hey, media can help you, especially when you have voters that are standing in the poll in the morning saying, which one's the Democrat?
That's why it's important.
But that's why they're
Yeah.
not talking to you.
That's why it's
Right.
especially important to support those independent sources of media like Political Radar.
Well, I mean, okay, so obviously we're biased, but so are they. They are biased by the two parties because guess what? Those are the people keeping those places in business. They're buying all the ads. Nobody else buys TV ads anymore.
You know, last time I was on here, we talked about, I mentioned there would probably be a $250,000 spend.
Yeah.
And, you know, I mean, look, I think between Mortensen, myself, and Stoyer, we were probably close to 20.
$50.
Between the three of us, we may have hit 20. I don't doubt that there's 230 between, you know, the two other candidates here.
I mean, that's.
I mean, I'm not even throwing in Evans.
That pays for a lot of back tickets.
I mean, if Pat went out and spent 30, I mean, you're at $50,000 for the people who lost.
Yeah. Isn't that crazy?
No.
It
is. It's insane.
a tiny little town.
Yeah, we begged for it and brought partisan politics here, and now we've got it.
I'm begging us not to have it. I'm
Right.
begging, and you know what? We still, boy, you know, we are the most privileged. We're the most privileged city, probably in the world.
Right. Oh yeah.
I mean, we have a good standard of living. We have low crime, contrary to what they would say in their forum. We have world renowned. You go almost anywhere on the planet, they know what we are, right?
Yep.
But also, we have political diversity. You know, so yeah, the parties both have their talons into our way of life here, but
Right.
people change. People
Oh,
switch
for sure.
parties. On my own ballot, spoiler alert, I crossed party lines today. You know, it happens.
Yeah, absolutely. I've done it myself.
And
Just about every election, probably.
So historically, I have not. I have historically been more of a supporter of Republicans because I have been more of a hater of taxes than a lover of pot or
Sure,
whatever the Democratic issue was of the day. But I feel like both parties have lost their way. So I'm obviously just disillusioned. And boy, this election, it's just, you know, it just feels like dominoes to me. You know, so we had Trump and Clinton, and then we had Walker and Evers, and it's just like the partisanship and like what the parties even stand for,
Right.
just gets more warped to me, and it just keeps changing, and people keep telling me which party I should belong to, but they are having a harder and harder time explaining to me why.
Right. Here's the nice thing about being in the middle is if you ever want to pursue something in the future,
Yeah.
just based on timing, you can choose a party.
Yeah.
And you have to. I think it's very obvious you have to choose a party if you actually have a plan of winning.
Yeah.
Which is sad, but okay, look at with President Obama after his first 2 years, look how many chairs switched.
Oh yeah.
Donald Trump after his first 2 years, look how many chairs switched.
Right.
So look, if Donald doesn't get reelected,
Yeah.
and you have a mayor getting elected now, then at the next president, and let's just say it's a Democrat, you know, a Democratic president, that first 2 years is the same time mayor's up. So if Genrich is a Democrat and he's the mayor for 4 years, he may not see a second term because there's historically you've got precedents on how these seats change.
Right.
You know, no one's looking that far down the road. My mind just works kind of weird like that, but it's all about projection.
We are thinking that.
But you know what? Let's say in 4 years, I want to run for something. I
Right.
would go running to that Republican Party and say,
Yeah.
I am a hardcore conservative and I believe in your values 100% top to bottom.
You know, what do we have no hope? I mean, I feel like this two-party thing, I say it all the time. I said the first time I really articulated this was when you were here. And I said, you know, the two-party system, it makes us just 50% better than communism.
It's true.
And I feel like that just crystallizes it for me. And this should scare everyone.
Right. You have to embrace, you have to embrace a party. And look, Pat Buckley did it when, you know, he was asked about it, when all the initial candidates came in on that very first night, when everybody got all their paperwork turned in and we knew there were 8 people running, you know, and they talked to him and he's like, He's like, oh, yeah, the Republican Party endorsed me, and I would take the endorsement of any party if they want to. Well, yeah, you embrace it and pull it closer rather than be like, oh, you know, it's nonpartisan seat, and I'm glad they support me, but, you know, it wasn't like that at all. And, you know, it's the same thing with Eric when questioned about it. He was like, hey, I'm very proud of my record as a Democrat, and I'm very proud of my party. And, you know, so all the commentary is embrace your party. But now when you're sitting in the mayor's chair and something is coming up and they need something lobbied in the area or something, who do you owe? You know, do you owe the people of Green Bay who voted you in? Or do you owe all the volunteers and all the money that was pumped in, you know, by your party and by other special interests throughout the state and outside of the state?
So, John Janke mentioned something in chat. He's
John Yonke?
Yonke. I'm so bad.
I like John.
He was here.
I know.
He was here. You had one job, Jacob.
Yes.
Jacob.
He mentioned
Jacob.
that while campaigning,
Yeah.
he mentioned that the number one question he has asked was, what is his party affiliation?
Right.
Now, Joe, I'd like to ask you the same thing.
Yeah.
How often does that come up for you?
All the time, right?
It comes up all of the time. You know, and I always just kind of throw out the little joke.
Why didn't
like,
you just reply back to your buddy on the Neil? Why didn't you reply back to Neil and say, what are you talking about? I am a Democrat. Why did you say
yeah, I know,
that?
right? I'm a Democrat. Write me in.
I mean, if that's all it takes, I mean, if that's what Buckley said, yeah. If the Democrats want to endorse me, I'm a Democrat too. I mean, that's what that sounds
exactly.
like to me.
Yep.
Like, what is it?
Well, thanks for the hindsight here. You know, now I'm just like, I'm a Democrat, bitch.
No,
Oh.
no.
I'm
Are you kidding me?
a world where your ballot choice has, because now everything's going to be partisan, so everyone gets a letter under their name. It's going to be Joe Moore D and Joe Moore R.
Like D or R, whatever you need.
Yeah, maybe you could register twice next time instead of 0.
Yeah, I like this.
Okay, so
But John is totally right. When you go knock on a door, or you're just handing lit out to people, when my mailers went out, and I know some of them were late, but I was getting calls all the way up on election day. Phone calls come in and be like, "Are you a Republican or Democrat?" I mean, and that was like the number one question.
Wow.
Yep.
So I had a friend on Facebook, he doesn't want my viewpoints anyway, right? Because I skew like more radical and more right wing than he does. But
Radical right wing or just
no radical, comma. But I mean, whatever. I'm more engaged, and he obviously he's asking his friends like for who should I vote for on this stuff. And he didn't know anything about any of the people running for school board. And he said, well, I want a progressive. I don't even know what that means exactly. But to me, and I talked to all of them, they are all far more left-leaning than me.
Sure.
Politically, right? And in terms of the school board, I don't know exactly what progressive means in terms of a school board seat anyway, but I think they're all progressive. So I don't even know how. So how do you?
I think
how do you
in
categorize
local politics in general, I think for Green Bay and Brown County, people know Troy Streckenbach is a conservative. People just know that.
Yeah.
Would you say he's not progressive?
Well, that's the other thing.
I
I don't even know. I don't even know
Jim,
these labels.
look, Jim Schmidt. Jim Schmidt. Everyone knows Jim Schmidt's a Republican. Oh, there's Jim Shrimp with the Jim Shrimp. Yeah, that was a little slip. There's Jim with the
Good
Donald
luck on
Trump.
your future political career.
So here's Schmidt with the Trump jersey, or the Trump sign or whatever. There's Republican. Is he not progressive?
Right.
I mean, that guy spent more money than anybody to get things going and growing in Green Bay and moving the community forward. So, yeah, I don't know.
So we
Shrimp.
do
I can't believe I
have-
said that.
You didn't. You just you sort of muttered it, and then you went all in.
Yeah, fat tongue sometimes. Too many cupcakes.
Like I said, shrimp. Shrimp. I meant to say shrimp.
Love it.
Yeah.
Sorry.
What did you say, Jacob?
We do have the initial results coming in for state Supreme Court.
Wow.
Oh, it's that time already?
Yep.
Yeah.
Holy smacks. Do I need to get out of here so you can have anybody else come up?
Not yet.
I don't think they want to. They're afraid. Let's see.
I wonder how Jason Jerry is doing. We're not going to find write-in vote counts until tomorrow, unfortunately.
Oh,
So,
really? They won't
yeah.
have any of it?
No, it's going to have a total amount of votes. I mean, unless Sherry Jerry wants to run down to the
Really?
down to the polling station and count them. She may be biased. I hope she's biased.
Okay, so you want to, what do you have? Where are you looking for results? Where, okay, well, I'm looking at the county site.
Okay, nobody can read that.
So are you looking on like the statewide site?
I have no idea, bro.
Well, I mean, okay, so this is statewide. Okay. So according to WFRV, statewide, it's pretty tight. So Neubauer is 58.3, so 52%, 52 to 48.
With how much percent in?
13% reporting. Yeah.
I see.
Yeah, I'm a pro. I can read numbers.
Nice.
Oh, let's see here. So, what do I want to see here? So, who was given the? Somebody was given some predictions the other day. Oh, Eric Drzwicki, I think, right?
Yeah. Eric wrote a nice,
Yeah. So,
pretty decent summary, I think.
So, did he say that he thought Troy would win like 75-25? Because that's about the number right now. Whatever, that seems pretty reasonable. Where are the school board listings? I would think these would be towards the top.
Organization is not a strong suit for a lot of them.
Well, the problem is, like, we can't even, like, this is not an automatable thing. I tried. Not easily, anyway. Because you got to, like, go back and click, and, yeah, it's a big pain, so.
Someone's asking if this is the Green Bay fan page for Jim Schmidt.
If this is?
Yeah.
I don't think so. It's shrimp.
Oh, jeez. You know what? I think so mayor has 0 in so far. Oh, so there are some school board numbers in. Van den Heuvel is the top vote getter so far. 3 of 58 precincts, so 5%. So the numbers don't mean much. That could be like his neighborhood. Who knows? I really don't know. I have no idea. So, but he has the lead. Paul Butcher is the bottom. It's pretty tight though. But I would expect that. That's how school board is. Because people don't pay attention to it. They don't know.
Plus only 5% in.
Yep. So that's not surprising at all. So no surprises yet, Mayor. They're probably going to very carefully count it. Right? I mean, so do you know any of the like the actual like logistics about what happens in terms of like the vote count? Because it goes into the machine, it gets counted. So like what happens after
they run
that?
through the machine, they get counted, they get verified, hand delivered down to City Hall and published.
It gets verified by like how do they verify it?
Poll workers.
So like at my
Verify. They make sure all of the make sure they all ran through the machine, make sure the counts tally up the same, and
if they don't, then they rerun it.
pretty much, yep.
Yeah, okay.
Yep.
Yeah. So, all right, that's about what I expected. So we can continue with our little list.
All right, what else do we have today to talk about?
We can talk about Zoe.
I think Shelby should share her cupcake recipe. I don't think she'll come over here though.
I lost my list. I should have kept that in a tab. Gotta learn how to use my computer one of these days.
I'd like to look at the Facebook commentary and when the poll results start coming in and see the predictions and updates and everything.
So, let's see. Any other questions come in that you saw?
Not yet. If you're listening in or watching on Facebook, on YouTube, you can leave in the comments a question and we'll see if we can answer it. If you have any, that'd be fun. We do have one question, that being, who else is going to be a guest this evening? I don't know.
Joe Prosser's on his way, And yeah, I told people it's going to be kind
excellent
of
analyst.
I told everybody it was going to be kind of informal. So I'm sorry about that, Jacob. I should have probably been a little more structured. And
Elliot, structured.
well, but you know the thing is, like I didn't want to boost up. So anybody that came here, I didn't want to like mislead them and say, hey, you know, we're planning on having 10,000 people watch, and then have it be a disaster. So I wanted it to just be real for everybody. So.
Do we need to get into like the real dirt and the real like uh-oh stuff? Joe, how many votes are you gonna get?
I think 25 would be a small victory. I was projecting 14 to 16, but I feel I might exceed that.
For real?
Oh, it'll be pretty low. Andrew Becker said I'd get like 125. I like his thought process here.
I don't know how you wouldn't get.
Look, I didn't go knock on doors, and I didn't. Pat and Eric made it through the primary.
Yeah.
Fair and square.
Right.
You know, and I didn't want to go out and start campaigning hard and spending money. And
well, where do you start?
And exactly. So, some Facebook posts, hey, if you want another option, I'm running. Of course, you know, coming on your show. I mean, that's really all I did. Mm-hmm. And I mean, look, other than my mom probably gathered about 700 votes for me herself. I swear, if she could, she'd have been down here knocking doors for me. She's like a one-man, like, volunteer team. Yeah. Good Lord, that woman supports me, huh? So, yeah, but hey, that says a lot, you know.
Well, I mean,
mom's firstborn. Come on, I'm my mom's firstborn. Vote for Joe.
So, is that how it's supposed to work? Because I was firstborn, and that's
your mom doesn't like you.
I mean,
my mom would like you. My mom takes people in.
Man, can I be adopted?
You could.
Is there room for one more?
Join the party. Oh, there I said party again. The more party.
Nice. I was wondering how long I could go without dropping that. So all right. So
more.
I think we're gonna wait for Joe Prosser to talk about the Green Bay debt and how it relates to campaign promises, because I hope he has something juicy to say about that.
Hey, I got a comment real quick. Did you see all those great like banners and Facebook frames and all that stuff that Wendy made?
Did? Yes.
Facebook is just littered with them from like one end to the other. I mean, I go through like my friends list and I see dozens and dozens and dozens of them. So I'm just going to throw a plug out there for Wendy Coriel, Green Bay Sausage. Man, if you need that kind of like marketing and advertising for social media, I mean, that stuff is great. Those graphics.
But now,
and she made one for my mom.
But do I have to charge you for the ad now?
So this is.
I don't know. Joe Moore seems to get away with it. He
I know.
Commercial sales.
Yeah, you know, I didn't get anything out of that. So.
Is that how advertising works now?
Right. You don't pay until you see results.
Wow. So is that how elections are supposed to work? Well, I didn't win, so I shouldn't have to pay him for my ads.
Right, not my mayor.
Yeah, right.
My guy didn't win. He's not my mayor.
Not my mayor. Wow.
So what happens in the alternate crazy universe where you win tonight, Joe?
In that alternate crazy universe where I win.
We got to put an election party together pretty quick then.
That would be epic. Oh my!
We're canceling work tomorrow.
Yeah.
City's closed.
I guess I never thought that far ahead. I'll go join Troy at his party, and I'll just be like, Troy.
What am I supposed to do now?
We did this together, okay? Give my speech there, you know.
Yeah.
Suppose I should have wrote something just in case. I can wing it.
Thanks, Mom.
Right. Yeah, thank all my supporters out there, you know, Mom, Bonnie.
I mean, because if you win, it would be truly 100% your mom.
Truly. I saw her commenting on stuff that, I mean, oh my goodness. It could be like, dolphin washed up on shore at Kitty Hawk.
That's because my son isn't mayor yet.
And then she would write underneath it, write in Joe Moore for mayor. It didn't matter what it was. It was on like every news article, you know. The stinking horse rapist is back in the news, and Andre Jacques trying to push through some legislation. Vote for Joe Moore for mayor. Write him in. Didn't matter what it was. There it was.
How long did you think we'd go tonight?
I was trending.
Before a horse race. I can't even say it. A horse rapist was mentioned.
Hey, I don't know, horse rapist is probably worse than a horse racist. So you're close.
I wonder. Yeah.
This was a mistake.
You know what?
Unless
It's
like
politics.
horse like the animal, not horse like
You know what?
I've been being a racist for so long.
You know what? The people who would get upset with this, they're not watching. They're too engaged with their political parties.
Right, and if I get elected mayor and this comes out, tough. I'm your mayor now.
Yeah, we're canceling. we're going to immediately. We're gonna have a police presence at the Democratic Party headquarters, and they're
you don't like it? Recall me.
Yep. Oh, be careful with that.
Oh, Uncle.
All right,
The new
so-
Uncle Joe.
Let's see. So the other things that I wrote on here that kind of stuck out in my head. So in the forum, it was very striking. So Buckley saying I was a former cop, so crime is bad, so vote for me, right? So this is the thing, right? And then Eric would go on and say crime isn't so bad. Shut up, right? And
Is crime bad?
no, crime is down across the country in almost every category. Let's move on, right? Like this is a known thing, and partly because our police are awesome and they're doing a great job. So this is where I'm really torn, right? Like if they're doing if a department is doing a great job, do you cut their budget? Right? Like that becomes tough, right?
Right.
So you're doing a great, efficient job. Okay, well, we're going to cut your budget. So I totally get the challenges there, right? That is a big challenge. But the issue of they were talking about guns, I think, and I really don't
Like
know.
what is their favorite kind? Or?
Well, I don't know what I don't. Yeah, I'm not sure what mayor has to do with guns, but they were. What kind of stuck out to me though was it was about Buckley wanted to have our police stop people before they commit crimes, which to me sounds like either thought crimes.
Sure, they could do like random door checks, random search and seizure, seizures.
This sounds like the most terrible thing ever. So you're in favor of this also?
Jeez. Are you kidding me?
I can't imagine what kind
I don't
of
like it when the
world-
kids play in my yard. I don't want the
Right,
cops
I
coming
just-
digging through my stuff.
I just don't know what kind of world we live in where this is what we want. This is what we prefer. Like, who is it that thinks that's a good idea? And of course, they're thinking, well, that wouldn't be in my neighborhood. That would be in the people that are the other color's neighborhood.
So stop crime before it happens. Okay, so then he supports ticketing people who leave their car running. I mean, that's what I'm getting out of that.
I
Okay,
guess.
our biggest crime issue in Green Bay is probably retail theft. So does he want to require these private businesses to hire loss prevention specialists and a loss prevention team? I mean, I don't know. This seems like an awful lot of
So
authoritarian.
You're actually treating this a lot more seriously than I was, because I'm just like,
Well, I want to see where the thought process
Well,
is.
because
Like,
the-
what is actually, what is clicking in the head right here to say we want to know what you're doing at all times that you're doing it, so that you don't do something wrong, and we're going to determine what's wrong and what's right.
yeah.
One of the thought
There's a microphone right there.
processes is something that actually has been going on for the past, I've only become aware of it politically and in the news over the past about year or so. But basically it's the premise of they bait normal people into doing things that would be criminal acts. Way long time ago, it was the special car that had the keys in it, and then it would stop at a safety point, remote control. Most recently was the bait and switch things where they put fake ads out when Craigslist used to have personals or the back page was around. Now there's other ways to go around it, but I won't advertise that because I don't
Right.
know what the do's and don'ts are for this podcast quite yet.
Jacob's not listening. There's no don'ts.
We're
Woohoo! My kind of fun.
He's like, what now? Huh?
But what they did was they put fake ads up for prostitutes and And instead of just providing more.
And what websites were these ads on?
You don't want to know that because they do stings and they're actually prosecuting for, they called it their sting on human trafficking.
I know.
They did not do a thing to help any of the victims. And instead, otherwise law-abiding people, Brown County, even though I'm not a Brown County resident,
Right.
but somebody from my county was arrested here in Brown, and because they're married, one of their charges that were put in the newspaper was, it's a class I felony to have sex or attempt to have sex with someone who's not your spouse. And they were charged with that, and that made it in the newspaper along with their mugshot. How's that for some apples?
Well, it is a law.
It's worse.
I don't think you can walk your alligator down the sidewalk without a collar, too.
Well, actually, no, not worse. I don't know what is worse. The way the system is set up right now, that is the worst.
Right. Right.
Sorry.
You shouldn't be sorry. That's why there's a microphone there. That's your microphone.
Yeah, I don't like that. I don't like that thought process of stopping crime before it happens.
If we have so little crime that
if-
we have to set people up for it, we should probably just, leave it
Now,
alone.
if the philosophy is getting the officers out of their cars and walking down the sidewalks in the neighborhoods and meeting people and greeting people and engaging the community and involving them, where people want to talk to the police, already doing that. And we've been doing that since Chief Smith got here.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, heck, Lily
Right.
assaulted an officer in our own. Didn't you?
You assaulted an officer?
I kicked his bike.
She kicked his bike. Poor Officer Carlson.
And he kicked mine.
He kicked it back this year and got her back.
I
So
mean-
we're all even now.
Oh, I mean, is that
Lily's
how it works?
relationship with the police.
So, like, assaulting, as long as the officer assaults you back, we're good? That's
Well,
how it works?
they let a good 9 months pass or something like that between doing it, but
And I didn't go to juvie.
Was interfering with her bike rides.
I didn't go to juvie.
Hey, I mean, that's,
Where do you learn these words?
she's practicing. She understands that she has a political future ahead of her.
She may.
So that is what I was talking about. This is actually stopping crime before it starts. Instead, it's providing false numbers and it's doing F-quality work and getting away with having high numbers of tickets and items through
Right.
as guilty charges. Because once you get into the court system, especially the first-time offender and the people who have no offenders in their socioeconomic friends and family class,
Right.
they are swimming. And they'll
Right.
take that no contest guilty plea in hopes that it's just going to go away. And instead of any solutions happening, all they're doing is they're providing a pretty picture on the cover, and they're not doing anything to solve any of the root problems. They're basing their metrics off of long figures, facts, numbers, politics. There's no ethics, no integrity in a lot of it. I would love to challenge any of the candidates that win tonight to start going on a platform of integrity instead of face value and appearances.
Well, and I think Chief Smith has probably addressed integrity. The guy came in and the good old boys club was done.
Right.
And it really was. And he has.
He's been a fantastic change.
He has, and I think one of the candidates probably supports him, and one of them doesn't. We'll see what happens, but because one of those, of course, candidates is part of that good old boys club. I'm not going to say which one. I'm guessing people can put two and two together. But
I guess I didn't.
we have any updated numbers?
I'm looking for that right now, so I just want to see. So, 14 of 91. Troy Stregenbach still 74.53%.
It's 3-1.
So I would say that's probably going to hold pretty steady. You know how it goes, though. It's like it's slow and then it's everything. So.
It is, and it's weird with the city of Green Bay with the last couple of elections too, that there was nothing from the city of Green Bay awards, and then they almost seems like they were all just dumped at one time.
Yeah. School board. 4 of 58.
Buckley and Genrich are tied.
Yeah.
0-0. 0 reporting.
So
Well, knowing that
Same
my
number,
wife and I voted for me, and knowing that, I'm just going to say I'm up right now.
I did too.
All right, so we got a few votes
Like,
here.
that was for real. And Wendy did in spirit. Spirit votes count.
Wendy came to Green Bay early today and just drove from ward to ward to ward voting.
That works.
Picked up at least 40 votes that way. I did have somebody tell me that today that they can't vote for mayor because they're not from the city of Green Bay, but she wrote me in for everything on her ballot. So, hey. Sorry there, Judge
So
Hinkfist.
any update on the other? Are you watching that
Slow
one?
progress so far.
Okay.
Things will definitely get heated up in a little while.
Yeah.
I believe the state Supreme Court's at like 36%.
Okay.
That's getting close enough to call if there's enough separation.
Yeah.
Let me see.
Listen to this math wizard.
We're at 50% for.
Hey, some of these races get called with like 6% in.
No. Let's see, yeah.
Yes,
All right,
so
looks
for the state Supreme Court, we're at 39% reporting.
Okay.
With Lisa Neubauer at 53% of votes.
Okay.
So she's got a slight lead.
Yeah, that might be enough.
Obviously, though, it's kind of harder with the statewide races
Yeah.
because it depends on what county.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, right.
I know. Yeah, because
you
they're
got
saying
counties
percent
like
of.
Milwaukee County.
Yeah, they're saying percent of precincts, not percent of. Well, the precincts are all like equivalent populations, though, right?
Right, for that percentage. But if,
Yeah.
you know, all the precincts are from heavily blue areas.
Yeah. No, you're right. That's true.
Yeah. I mean, look at the
Yeah.
late reporting.
I wonder if any of these are going to be particularly close. You know, we had
School board will be.
in our last major statewide election, the governor's race between Scott Walker and Tony Evers. It was tooth and nail for a long, long time into the night, into the next day. And I wonder if we're going to have any type of situation like that.
I don't think so.
It's not as many wards. I mean, at least
know
with
what?
the city, I mean,
People-
you've only got 42 wards.
So
They're coming in.
So I've been thinking that that the turnout is going to be pretty low,
I agree.
right? Because
so.
don't you like for the last couple mayor elections, the last governor election, like people were pissed off,
Right?
and or they were like, oh well, I'm not pissed off, but I got to defend my guy, right? Like I don't know, like nobody has that right now. I don't think like nobody has that like passion. I don't know. I mean, I'm sure there are some people, but like I just don't feel that in like a general feeling of that. So, and I don't.
I would be pretty excited if Fox 11 puts up a graphic of me in first place.
Yeah.
It's never been done before. Sorry, Ben. Ben Krumholtz. He's a friend of mine. He's a good guy.
You didn't put it up, did you?
No, but he's the one that had to try to defend it because he was doing all the election coverage. Poor guy.
Yeah. Well, mistakes happen.
Does he like Green Bay politics? I've always wondered that. Like, does he have that job because he loves the politics, or is that just what he's
That's a great question.
I would like to know that someday.
Well, why don't we message him?
Okay?
Who knows him best?
I don't know him best.
I mean, I don't know.
I'll tell you, a high-ranking Green Bay official once told me that he thought Ben Krumholtz was mayoral material. Until Ben Krumholtz reported on him using City Hall time to email invitations to his party.
Oh, okay.
Then he was like, I don't know, maybe he's not. Maybe he's not mayoral
my
material.
God. Wow.
That's fun.
Mayoral material.
What makes mayoral material?
Sorry.
We've got these really nice microphones, and Elliot apparently doesn't like using them.
You know,
I'm all about comfort. I mean, they do stretch, so it's just nice.
so you know what? Usually I'm too loud. Nobody accuses me of being too quiet. So.
Nothing's updating anywhere.
Well, looks like Lori Lightfoot will be Chicago's first black female mayor.
Did Rahm not run?
That's cool.
Or, I don't even know. Did Rahm lose in the primary, or did he not run?
I don't know. I think
Tell me.
I think he got run out of town.
Tell me who's winning Ward 49 in Chicago. I don't even know if he's up for election or not, but check out Chicago Ward 49.
How do I do that?
I don't know. Maybe just Google it. Use the Google. Use the Google.
Seriously? I'm gonna just Google Chicago Ward 49. Put your pink hat back on. Oh, okay. I get it.
He's got better hair.
So that's Alderman Joe Moore in Chicago. I don't know how to tell if he's winning.
I got a call from somebody once when Joe Moore took a rather large payout campaign contribution from Rahm Emanuel. And I had gotten a phone call from somebody in Chicago, just glad you answered your phone, and then just laid into me for accepting that money. And I'm like, oh,
no.
And but I'm like, okay.
He's out.
Is he done?
Yeah, he's out.
Oh, wonderful.
Yeah. So he
No
goes
more
out.
calls
So-
for you in the middle of the night.
So apparently he's out at, I don't know when they switch, but like this was February 20th, 2019.
Lost in a primary.
Well,
Perhaps.
but he's still, maybe, and he's still in until after the end. Okay, that's probably it. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
But he had some kind of April Fool's thing yesterday. So I don't know. I'm afraid. I'm afraid about these Joe Moores and what they're capable of. That is funny. I fell right into that.
Yeah, right on.
Why don't you just Google it?
Yeah, I wonder what he'll be doing next. What's next for Joe Moore?
Oh God.
Alderman, Ward 49 in Chicago. I think one of his most famous things down there was that he witnessed the shooting.
A shooting?
Well, he's from Chicago.
I mean,
He's probably just walking down the sidewalk and, mowing
okay.
his lawn, and there's another
So
shooting.
being from Green Bay, that's our perception of Chicago, apparently.
Right?
Shootings just happen all the time. You just walk down the street and you get shot.
That's really sad.
It's not. I've been to Chicago plenty. I've been to Baltimore. I mean, things happen, but they're not happening. So there's just a lot of people. Yeah, the rate is slightly higher than ours, but everybody's not getting shot. We live in an extremely safe country.
Yeah.
Extremely safe.
What do you think, Lily? You feel safe?
I don't know. She's hanging out and
She's got cupcakes stuffed in her
in
mouth.
downtown Green Bay at 9:00 at night.
Ooh, looks like the Fond du Lac school referendum's going to pass. 97% in. That's a huge difference.
They all want their taxes going up.
You just had that discussion with someone today.
Yeah.
State balances their budgets on the backs of the municipalities. It was a good conversation. Someone that really didn't understand the ins and outs of it. So you pull all the money away from schools, and then you say, hey, we kept your property taxes at 0 this year. And then the schools have to have referendums to operate. Yeah. Well, but we're paying for it here.
I don't know the total solution to that. I mean, I think everybody wants fair, transparent
Probably
taxes.
one of those 19 run write-ins against Judge Hinkfist. Thank you, Tommy. Thanks for your support.
I'm like, what? So those are
Got nothing but love for
in
you.
there. Okay. But isn't that's Green Bay, City of Green Bay, right?
Circuit Court,
Isn't it?
Branch 7.
That's not county, is it?
It's got to be city.
So why is
So,
that?
Tommy, maybe you didn't vote for me for that?
So why is that in already? Is what I'm wondering. Why aren't the other ones in?
Maybe the jurisdiction expands outside the city
The
of Green Bay
reporting
borders
is-
to like Alloway, Bellevue.
That's probably
Kind of like the school districts.
Yeah. Okay.
So Green Bay wards probably aren't in.
Hey, you're so smart. Way smarter than that other Joe Moore.
Just no.
Chicago's Joe Moore ain't got nothing on ours. We should invite him on and we should have like a challenge.
Should.
A Joe Moroff.
Way better than a Joe moron.
That is way more than I.
I was too, but see, I'm playing chess and you guys are playing checkers. I am.
So you set that all up.
I did.
Damn it, Elliot.
Yeah, I was on that.
Man.
I had to get you back.
Fell right into
Just
it.
use the Google. Google my name.
Use the Google.
See what you find. So, school board hasn't changed. Mayor hasn't changed. This is a very exciting results.
Look
we're
at
having.
that. Hey, 2 of 2 in, 3-way tie?
Wow. What?
No, come on.
Yeah.
School board member for Brilliant Public Schools. Vote for 3. So with 2 of 2 precincts counted,
Okay, well, they're a vote for 3. So.
not a single person voted for just 2 or just 1. And they all got 21 votes. Well, they can all say they tied for first.
Well, some people voted for none, right?
Yeah, some people filled out ballots and didn't vote for anybody.
They're just like, well, this is stupid.
What do you do in that situation?
Well,
there's 3.
There are 3, so there's 3 open seats.
Okay.
Imagine if there were 2, though. Yeah.
What do we got here for the Green Bay schools up there? 4 precincts
Scroll.
in?
Yeah, but it's the same.
Oh, yeah.
That's what it was at. I don't know. I've been refreshing.
Did that say Paul Busher's got 300 votes?
Yeah, but that's the way school board is, though.
Go yoga!
People don't. I mean, like, whatever. I don't think there's anything, particularly bad about him being on school board. There's things that I don't necessarily agree with him on, and and I understand there's things that have
Yeah, I think there's things in the history that would probably
But you know what?
not make a lot of parents happy about him being there. However,
But you know
he's
what?
definitely not somebody I see as a rubber stamp.
Right.
And his ideas may be eccentric, but if you can draw him to the middle with some of those ideas
right.
and actually,
Yeah.
take pieces of it and work it into some policy, I think that's probably not so bad.
I didn't know
but
how
it's
to get a
gonna,
hold of him.
It's going to take a board that can do that.
I didn't know how to contact him. Otherwise, I would have had him on.
It's my dad.
Oh.
It's not really, but it's his name. Sorry, Gary Moore, you are losing right now.
But he's not your dad.
Not that one.
Okay.
I don't think my dad's running for
That's
anything.
got to be very confusing.
If my dad is running for anything right now, he should be rather mad at my mom, who spent all this time supporting me as a write-in.
Okay. So.
I told her this morning, I said, hey, don't get too excited about this. I haven't campaigned or done anything, and be lucky if I hit, 25 votes. And she's like, don't rain on my parade.
Are they going to ever update anything here?
I'm just sitting here waiting
Man.
for things to come in.
Drinking, smoking, trying to free my mind.
Oh my God. We're going to have Joe Moore's going to be doing some singing. So we left your poll item for you to comment on, because I don't know what you were talking about specifically.
Wendy, did you know that Egg Harbor has a referendum on medical and recreational marijuana tonight?
No, I did not.
0% reporting so far.
Egg Harbor is beautiful. I would not mind living in Egg Harbor. I'm not tied to Michigan.
I have
Depending on
never
what happens tonight, I'm
been.
not necessarily tied to coming back to Green. We'll see.
I have never been to Egg Harbor, nor did I know it existed until about 4 minutes ago.
Come on.
Are you kidding me?
No.
Wow.
Totally honest here.
What?
100%.
Oh, nice.
I have literally never heard of Egg Harbor.
My throat is so dry right now. My throat's just like killing me. I sure wish somebody would come in with something to drink. Neenah school referendum passed by 500 votes, 100% in. $129,580,000 referendum. What is that all about?
Yeah.
Oh, look at this. Juice. Is he 21? Well,
Unfortunately, he's of voting age.
do we need to blur the labels and stuff on these things? Just keep my hand in front of it?
No. Green Bay Brewery, still mank, delicious. We have our peeps work there. It's all good.
I'm digging this.
Yeah.
All right, so we got Neenah school passed, 41% in on the Wisconsin Supreme Court. Neubauer 53, Hagedorn 47.
That sounds like a lock.
Still nothing on the mayor. Only 15% on the Brown County exec. It's kind of silly.
So,
So do we think county exec is a shoe-in?
well, I think that I would have called that.
I think
before.
he is. He has support on both sides of the aisle.
Yeah. Yeah. Well,
But really, I mean, what has he done that's...
okay. So
Look, Mark, this Mark Burnt that's running, he's just like, I'm running to change everything he did. And,
okay.
And Troy's
You know what,
running
though?
saying, I'm running because of
change
all the
nothing.
things I did.
Right. But you know what? That's exactly how democracy is supposed to work.
It is.
That's great.
Yeah.
Like these other ones that are uncontested. That is BS. Like these people that live in De Pere. Shame on you.
Yeah.
All right.
You know.
Elliot,
Yes.
how would you feel? I'm clearly leading this because I know how you're going to respond.
Yes.
How would you feel about a position, a rule for voting that says if only one person is up, on ballot, there's an official second checkbox that says no one, please. Yep, no contest, and you vote for that, and if that gets the majority, the position's just cut.
We just eliminate the position.
Yep.
You know my answer.
I am baiting him so hard.
Yeah. If we don't care about who's in it, or we think they're so amazing, cut the position. We don't need it. Yeah. Yep. Done. Gone.
So, Joe.
Yeah.
Ow.
Just smack your head on the wall? Be careful. They just put that there.
I came for that reason alone.
Am I wrong about that?
You know what? At about 6 o'clock tonight, I voted in my ward, and I was number 248. Apparently, people don't vote down.
Well,
Some wards were coming in the 800s, and I was like, wow, but
Yeah. But okay, so I think we said this right before you came in. I said I think this is going to be a super low turnout. Period.
well, and that was one of my arguments that Pat Buckley could actually win this thing because
Yeah.
look, Eric had a ton of support, but who voted for him in the primary? They're all going to vote now, but who didn't vote in the primary?
Yeah.
That's really going to come out. I mean, his
That's a
supporters were
fair
there,
point.
and then yes, he was the Democrat. He's nonpartisan now, but he was the Democrat, and he's tied to that party.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
he represented a gerrymandered, lowest voting turnout area of the city. So unless those people are getting out in
Right.
higher numbers than they historically have,
Yeah.
then the rest of the city is a vote against.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a very legitimate shot Pat could win this, no matter how much money. And really, any candidate that was running against Eric could have run this just for not being Eric.
Well,
Overall,
Eric G.
is the city overall more right-leaning as far as a whole?
It's weird.
So Democrat versus Republican, for example.
In local elections, it definitely is.
Wouldn't it be a bit more to
How do we measure that? What do you mean?
the ruler?
How are you?
Well, if you look at how
Statewide in presidential
Right.
election years versus non-presidential election years, I think you get a lot more conservatives that show up versus.
right.
frankly, older people vote more.
But I think that's the reason, though.
I mean, Eric has thought he's had this thing wrapped up since day one.
Yeah.
I mean, that's
I have a
Right.
I have a personal not personal.
and what's
That's
grassroots,
wrong.
by the way?
Oh God, so many.
If someone
so
says
many
I'm running a
good
grassroots
buzzwords.
campaign, I see that as
Buzzword.
being something completely different than
It's a buzzword.
paying
Consultant.
paying somebody $30,000 to be a consultant and having an army of 100 people out for you and hitting doors and spending all this crazy money.
Yeah.
I don't see that as being grassroots.
Plus, and then, or less, like we have grassroots, everything.
This is.
Yeah, it is, isn't it?
Almost
You go knock on one door, I'm grassroots.
Let me pull this up again. Okay. I wanted to read it from the official results. Yeah. Thank you, Jacob. Jacob's such a good man.
Is there something to report?
Yeah. So school board he pointed out. So I'm gonna, now that I know that it's way at the bottom, I can scroll all the way to the bottom. So we have. Well, they're saying 12% on the official site, the county site. So where are they getting their numbers?
I don't know, man.
Who is this?
This is Channel 5, right? WFRB.
Yep.
So where did they get their numbers?
You know, they always get their numbers, it seems, before everybody else does.
Oh.
On election night, too, they
Thank
had all the
you.
numbers posted.
Gina said I'm so quiet compared to Joe.
It's 'cause I get
Much
a little
better.
loud. I get a little loud when I'm drinking.
No nonsense.
I spent hours setting everything up.
I know. I know.
And Elliot's like, where should I keep my
I know.
mic so people can hear me?
I know. You got to keep that for the B-roll clip. I'm serious. You got to keep that. That was classic Jacob. That was so good. That was awesome.
Brilliant.
That might have been the funniest thing you've ever done.
Ever?
I mean, the bar is not really high. It's Jacob we're talking about.
I was
yeah.
born.
Okay, so 7 of 58 precincts on the official county site. So I don't know if there's a better place to get these from. I'm gonna hit refresh again. I just don't like trusting the non-official numbers.
Ooh, the Oshkosh mayor got beat. The incumbent.
So this is with 12% reporting. So the top is still Van and Heuvel. So what those numbers? What do they report? The ones you're saying for school board.
People got a bump from Mako.
Oh really?
Yeah, Mako endorsed him.
Oh.
So that's that was kind of funny. I wonder how the education establishment
Feels about that?
Like the GVEA and John Mako both endorsing the same candidate.
That actually means that I went and had coffee with Eric.
Yeah.
And because I didn't know him. I know the other guys a little bit.
Yeah.
But I never met Eric. So
Yeah.
he actually reached out to me. And so we had coffee, and I was talking to him. And I really got the feeling that he's not a rubber stamp and he's not an activist, but he is maybe that calming middle voice. I can say, hold on, come in a little bit. And I think that is probably pretty appealing, to a lot of people, especially when you have three choices. You have three choices. You can choose that activist, and you can choose that rubber stamp, and you can choose that person in the middle. And, I think that probably played to his advantage a little bit. That's the way he's been presenting himself in his videos. That's the way he presents himself at the door and in his literature.
And I mean, just look at his experience too. If you're a
Right.
voter who wants somebody on the school board who's kind of been through
There's a microphone right there.
the school,
Well, I mean,
You'll be like-
that's what it's there for. If you're going to talk, you should talk right into it, because
So,
otherwise,
I was gonna say, like, if you're a voter who wants somebody,
Hey, Lily, can Joe have that chair?
no, she's fine. She's
They're jammies.
if you are a voter who wants somebody who's like got school experience, who has gone teacher, principal, administration, and then also who's kind of been outside of that a little bit now too. I mean, he's your guy.
Yeah.
No question about that. And he certainly didn't make waves, like you said, kind of the middle of the road guy. He wasn't out there making waves or
Right.
doing anything to upset anybody.
So I was a little confused about what he's doing now, and if that gets funded at all by the school district or anything
With
like that.
I don't know.
The school district has a number of contracts with different agencies for like after school care
Yeah.
and that kind of thing, and the Boys and Girls Club is one of those.
So yeah. So I just worry. I just don't like conflicts of interest.
But I honestly don't know if they actually get any money from the school.
I don't know.
I know they have agreements, like they have a bus or a van or something that goes and picks up kids at different schools.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know if they're an actual like in-school provider of care, or if they have any type of
Right.
contract.
This is why I want private organizations to just be private. People just pay. I don't want
Like I
conflicts
said,
of
you can't.
interest.
I don't know. I don't know
You know?
if there's any money involved.
Yeah.
And one of our great conversations that we had was about after school programming, kids being able to get a meal while their parents are still at work.
Right.
We talked about affordable housing and how the school district and how the city, what things they can do, to try to work a little bit more about, look, I've always been a big LMI guy on housing, bringing in equal housing opportunities for people. So he was, look, maybe he was just telling me that because he wanted my support, but I didn't endorse anybody.
Right.
But it was a good conversation. Like I said, it was a lot based on after-school programming. It was a lot based on getting kids out of the cars that they're sleeping in, before they go to school. And then when they're done for the day, they're back in their car for the night. There's way too many homeless families in Green Bay, and that's something that he's very, very aware of. And is actually with the Boys and Girls Club trying to do something about.
Well,
so I think that helps too.
One thing that I always recognize that frustrates me with the school board, school district type thing is there are so many things like that subject that we can talk about.
Right.
And it seems to me like the people in the district like to do that within their own silo, within their organization, within the people they talk to. They don't shout it out. They don't make a big deal out of it. There are some really serious community issues that we need our school board to actually make a big deal about. They need to get out there and have voice. They need to, when there is something coming from the state that costs extra money, some type of, whether it's a regulation or some type of new law that's going to cost the district money to actually do it, and they aren't getting any more money to do it, they need to shout out, hey, we stop it. All the testing that we're required to do, all that stuff that is totally useless, they've got to be able to shout that. And if families that are homeless, which he obviously has experience with, I hope when he gets in there, he doesn't just start talking behind the closed doors to the different groups and actually advocates for that, because we need to advocate for that.
Right. If he gets elected.
If he gets
only
elected.
like 7% in or whatever, so.
Well, I think it's held so far. I mean, I don't know. Okay, so you've been involved in some elections, and you've seen lots of elections.
Mm-hmm.
So when the media's reporting things, are they just trying to make it seem like a horse race as they're reporting things? Like if it holds steady, because that's not what it is. What they're reporting precincts as they come in, and they're not like.
Right.
It's not a race. That's it's not how it works.
Right.
But but yet there's statistics involved. So, am I just not knowledgeable enough on statistics? Or, because, they make it sound like it's a horse race. So are they trying to make it entertaining and people are dumb like me? Or is there some statistical backing, do you think, to say, well...
When they're reporting?
Yeah, like, okay, well, there's only 2% reporting, but, he was ahead at the 2%, at the 6%, at the 10%. It's probably going to hold.
Right. A lot of candidates have had, they'll... When it's an aldermanic race, you may have 3 or 4 wards, in your district. And so you could get somebody to go to those polling stations when those numbers get submitted, and you're going to have a very rough, uncertified idea of where those numbers came in. But look, if they come in and you've only got 4 wards and you're up by 1,200 votes, you can say I won, because on when it runs through the machine again, look, if it's 5 or 6 vote difference.
Right.
So as
maybe you can't report on that as much. So maybe some of these TV stations have folks there at some of these wards or some of the higher voting turnout places. So they can say, look, okay, Ward 27 has an average of 200 voters over the last 6 elections. We're not going to send someone there. But Ward 41 usually has 1,100 voters, so we'll send someone there. So you can go to these higher voting wards. When the votes come in, they can give you an uncertified number, and you can report on it.
I would like to know,
knowing that it's going to be close.
So I hung out at our poll, and I was like kind of looking around and see if there's any media people or anything without being too weird about it. There was nobody there. Like I don't know. And like, do they come in at night at the end of the day?
I would assume at the very end, because unless they're doing some exit polling or something.
Yeah. So I don't really know.
Nationally, you might see some exit polling. I don't think you're going to see it
Question.
locally in these kind of races.
Has anyone here ever been exit polled?
Nope.
No.
And so that's what I mean. No. So they're not getting the people early in the day. So they're getting, or are they? Like I don't even understand how any of that works. Theoretically, I understand how it works, but I've never been exit polled. I don't know anybody who's been exit polled. So I don't know that I can trust these things. I think it's all a scam.
So what was your when you were on city council? What was your your ritual for election nights when you had to look at the election results for your own race?
Well, let's see. For the
I guess you're doing
first
that
election,
tonight too,
for my first election, I had kidney surgery earlier that day.
No, really?
Yeah, that was that day, wasn't it? I think so. Yeah.
I don't know. What story are you telling?
Yeah, I voted, and then I went and I had surgery on my kidneys.
Shut up.
And I laid at home and watched the results come in.
I mean,
maybe that was the.
you know what? That is probably the best way.
You know
to
what?
do it.
No,
If you
that was
reduce
the
it all.
primary. That was in the primary.
Okay.
So that's what that. The general election was kind of weird because it was myself and Chris Weary and Andy Nicholson and Richard DeBro, and there were a few others on election night.
Yeah.
And we all went and we were at Gippers.
Okay.
And we were watching the results coming in, and it was weird because the guy that I beat was there,
Oh, yeah.
and Chris Weary got beat that year, and he was there.
Oh, yeah.
And to see the difference of emotions, like it's like, oh my God, I won!
Yeah.
And then having Chris being like, son of a bitch, it was like, ooh. Or Richard, the person that I had beat,
Yeah.
3 of the 4 wards were in, and I was losing by like 60 votes, and I was like, well, maybe next time.
Right.
And then and that's what he was saying. He's like, oh, maybe next time, Joe.
Yeah. Yeah.
Let's still collaborate on stuff, okay? I really like you. We'll still. And then the 4th ward came in, and I just smoked them. And I mean, I only won by 20, but the wards are small, and there's not a high voter turnout to begin with.
Yeah.
So when that happened, he got so mad, he just got up and walked out the door.
So
I
you
don't
brought
think I've
up
talked to him
voter
since.
turnout again, and I
Yeah.
actually have a good question with that. Elliot and I, for a previous episode, we looked at old voter turnout for the past couple mayoral
Yeah.
elections,
Yeah.
and we were kind of placing like bad turnout around 10 to 12,000, and good turnout around like 18 to 20,000, somewhere in that range.
Yeah.
What do you think it's going to be?
I was thinking in the 14 range.
So kind of average.
Kinda like-
Probably a little lower than average. A little below average for this one.
Yeah.
There isn't anything super
that about what
exciting
we
out
said?
there.
Yeah,
I think we kind of all felt that same way.
I mean, the weather was a big factor. And
We
it
had good
turned out
weather today.
Pretty good.
I mean, it was good when I went out. I mean, I didn't get up early enough to know. I mean, I work at home, so I didn't go outside early. So I don't know. Yeah, I don't know about people who got up early to vote how it was early, but
It was pretty pleasant.
really.
Yeah.
So I mean, that matters a lot, especially for. I would assume like that type of thing matters for older voters.
Also, voters who can't drive themselves, maybe
Right.
they walk to their polling
Yeah,
place.
yeah. I mean, I guess that's kind of what I'm thinking. Yeah. So anybody who has, or, I mean, I think it can matter for a lot of people. Like, oh well, it's terrible weather, and I only have so much time to get to work. So,
Yeah.
I'm not going to stop
I mean-
on the way to work.
First of all, people are always just looking for an excuse not to vote, right?
Are they?
I think there's a big group of people say, "Oh yeah, I'm gonna vote. I'm gonna vote. I'm gonna vote this time."
Yeah.
I didn't get to bed till midnight last night, and I'm
Yeah.
kind of tired. So
I don't want to stand in line. Hey, I was getting calls during the primary.
Did you have
from-
a line at your polling place?
Not when we were there. There's
no
usually
line.
never a line. at our
The only
polling
time
place.
there was
At
a
transit,
line ever.
maybe like the 4:00 rush or something. You might have.
But you don't be a moron.
Right.
Moron.
I did 6 p.m.
I like it.
Last time I did 6 p.m. and it was packed.
Yeah. Okay. But don't go then.
This election, I went early and it was me.
Yeah.
Moron could be like the next campaign slogan.
That's what I was saying.
Who's moron? I'm moron.
So I mean, don't go to the gym at 5:30 on a Monday night. Like there's just certain things like
Right.
Duh, it's going to be busy at certain times.
And I was getting a lot of calls. You know what? No, I'm not going to say. I'm not going to say I was getting a lot of calls, but I got a few calls.
Yeah.
On election day from people saying, "Is the election a general or a primary?"
Today.
No. This is during the primary.
Oh.
And I would say it's the primary. We're going from 8 candidates down to 2. And okay. I only vote in generals.
Oh, jeez.
So it was like, well, you could still vote. There's 3 hours left in the day or whatever it was.
What is
but
that all about?
I only vote in generals. So I'm going to let everybody else decide my choices.
So, Elliot, are you going to lean into your microphone
Yeah.
and rant about the primary for...
Oh my God.
No, don't. Nobody wants to hear it anymore.
Really? So truthfully, am I alone in that?
No, you're not alone. We're just doesn't nobody.
Nobody cares.
Not that they don't care. Just like tonight's general. It's general election night, Joe
It's a
Moore.
moot-
Come on.
It is.
Okay.
You know what?
It's
All
a
right.
moot point. As Joe
I did
Okay.
get a call
Okay,
from somebody
fair.
who wanted to talk about changing the voting process.
Yeah.
He's wintering in Arizona right now.
Yeah.
And
So
he
he's gonna help
specifically
me?
called me and he said, "I really think that we need to get together with Elliot."
Did he actually say that?
Yep.
Are you serious?
Absolutely.
Oh, you're making
He
a
said,
weird
I don't know
face.
if he said, I don't know if you know Elliot Christensen, but this is something that he's always he's kind of brought up in the past, and I really think we ought to take a serious look at it.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
Send
You want to
him
know
my
who it
way.
was? Former long-term county supervisor and city alderman Tony Tyson.
Good.
Yeah.
I love Tony.
Yeah. Tony's well connected.
Joe, can you,
and he's a good
can
guy.
you give us any insight, Joe? Could Green Bay change the way we do elections without any type of state law change?
I don't know, but
How
it
crazy
would
is
have
that
to
none of
be-
us know?
It would have to be so because so many of the elections overlap, like districts, maybe for certain positions, but you couldn't do it. I don't think with like your congressman or your
I'm thinking just
or
like, could
U.S.
we
senator.
change
But
this
could you?
mayoral primary? Could we change the mayoral primary?
Yeah, I think if you chose a specific, and it was municipality inclusive, mayor and alderman, I think that you could. County supervisor, some of those districts overlap multiple municipalities, so then you'd have to get those municipalities on board. You might be
So is it
in Green
done?
Bay and crossed into,
So it's,
Pittsfield and crossed into Pulaski.
So you
So
think that
it's-
could be done as like a municipal ordinance?
I think so. Tony actually really wanted to take the reins on this, and he's
God,
like,
he's got to help me.
he's on vacation. He's got nothing going on. He's
God,
like,
that's exactly what I want.
He's
I
like,
want him
I'm
to
going to
help me.
look
Tony,
into this. I'm going to
Tony,
look
we're
into
doing
this
this.
and see what we can.
We're
do."
doing
So,
this. I'm for real. We're doing this because it's ridiculous.
totally worth a look.
It's
And that's
totally-
what's going to keep the partisanship at least somewhat balanced.
So you support
Thank you.
From a hard
Yes.
divide.
getting rid of the primary process for the mayor.
It doesn't necessarily need to be getting rid of the primary, but ranked voting, if you can. I
But
think
we got to
that
go one step at a time.
Yeah.
And so I think the thing we need to do first is get rid of the primary.
Yeah, that I don't know that would. I don't know how much support that would get.
Why wouldn't it? Nobody can
Because-
explain to me why we have a
They
primary.
wouldn't want 20 people on
Peop-
the ballot.
Why?
Right. People want the winner.
What? Well, why?
I think if
People want the winner to have 50% or more.
Yeah,
You can't
why?
get 50% or
I
more
think
unless you have
to
two
instant
candidates.
Runoff if you got rid of the primary, you just go to instant runoff.
Yeah.
That would be the first step, and then it would be.
Because too many people don't pay attention, and they want the people who pay attention to narrow it down for them so they don't have.
And that's the best explanation I've heard yet.
You're supposed to talk into the microphone.
That is the best explanation I've heard yet.
So
Tell us what your wife just said again.
Okay, so Shelby, the beautiful Shelby Moore, light of my life, just said
the smartest thing about the
Right.
primaries that I've ever heard, but I
because
still think it's
people
wrong.
who only vote in the general and don't know what's going on want the people who know what's going on to narrow down their choices for them.
And I think that is a
And that's the most commonsensical thing I've heard yet.
that's a reason why people want it, but that's a failure of democracy. And I'm sorry, that's not
It
that's
is.
not a good reason to have it.
So I think the compromise here is that we get rid of the primary, but then we have Joe Moore in the crisis center to answer all questions about who the Democrat is.
Love it.
Yeah, I just wanted to give you guys a little bit of an update. We have a tournament semifinal game going on in Green Bay, Wisconsin tonight. UWGB men hosting the CIT tournament semifinal.
Yes, there's only 14 Division I basketball teams still playing, and UW Green Bay is one of them.
They are winning 55-51.
Against
11.5 minutes left.
Texas Southern, right?
I believe so, yeah.
And okay, so my question is,
Did you share cupcakes?
I would like to know if more people are watching the stupid basketball game than voted tonight.
I can tell you, and I have photographic evidence that Jim and Donna Schmidt and Dave and Jane Hansen are at the game.
You know, I would also like to point out though, since we've gone down this forced direction that I made here, that UWGB men's games at the Crest Center are a lot of fun, and they probably should play more of them out there.
It's nice having the smaller venue, isn't it?
Yeah, and I can let
Until they could build
up.
up the attendance at the games and then move them. But
Yeah, that's not a. I don't have to hate on UWGB basketball to hate that more people don't vote, though. You know, like.
Wow, he's trying to push this back the other direction.
I mean,
Are you guys gonna keep talking about basketball And I just need a cigarette.
Well, for what it's worth, a lot of NBA players smoke a lot of weed. We can bring this full circle.
Oh my God.
Okay, but like, what could I do? I could
Larry
play
Sanders.
basketball. I'm short and gimpy. So maybe I could promote it.
This is a stretch. This is a stretch, Wendy.
Stand next to NBA players for comedic purposes.
That would be great.
So, have you seen any other updates?
Not yet.
What is up? Why does it take so long?
I told you you're going to be here till like late.
Yeah, even Fox 11 isn't
All right,
updating
so
anything.
I've got a fun loaded question.
Yeah.
Loaded.
Now we are moving to our first new mayor in what? 16?
12.
16? 12?
Right?
16
No.
years.
Yeah, 16.
16 years.
16
Okay.
years. Yes. 2002-ish.
Yeah, no, you're right.
School board's 12% in now.
Okay.
Is that what you got?
All right,
And
he's
Brenda
grabbing
Warren?
it.
I think I had it before.
My question is,
It was 12% before.
what
Dallas.
will the legacy of Jim Schmidt be?
The legacy?
Yes.
People will get past the. I think people will eventually get past the campaign finance stuff, but it'll hang around his neck forever. You know, most people will see probably the development that happened while he was
Do you
here,
really
the
think so?
change of the downtown.
Maybe we need to split it into like
Yeah.
the good and the bad. Let's go with the good.
Well, we talked about it last time. Look,
Yeah.
it took 10 years for people to say there's something to do in Green Bay, you know, downtown.
Right.
And I think that he can put his thumbprint all over that, you know, making that happen. The city deck, the developments, the apartment towers, the
Politicians
Schreiber National.
always get the benefit of time.
They do, yep.
Look at George W. Bush. I mean, Democrats love him now.
Yeah, right.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. It's true.
So I think some of the other stuff, people forget probably how something happened. They just know that it happened. So you'll look at the downtown and be like, oh, look,
Right.
yeah, maybe there were some under the table dealings going on. But when this TIF downtown expires, that's going to be such a cash flow influx to the city from those expired TIFs that it's going to be like, oh, we have all this development down here from a mayor that did all this stuff 25 years ago. This picture will be on the wall, and it'll be his little bio underneath it like everyone else's, and it'll be all about the development. And plus, generationally, most of the people that hate that man are going to be dead in 25 years, you know, or close to it. So it's...
Way to put a good stamp on that.
But look, I'm also going to say it depends on what he does after he's done.
Right.
You know, if he pulls a Paul Jaden and goes down to the WEDC and starts doing shady things down there,
Yeah.
well, that reputation is going to follow wherever he goes. But let's just say he becomes like chair of some nonprofit and he starts working with the homeless, and he, you know, the reputation changes. Poor Joe almost spit in his beer. Well, look,
Almost got him all.
Okay.
look, I'm just saying. I mean, he could do something post-retirement that is like very beneficial to him. I don't think he's worried about the money. I think he wants to do something nice. Like I talked to him once about what he was going to do when he retires from being the mayor, and he said he wants to go like teach kids in Africa.
Yeah.
I mean, he wants to go to a school in Africa, and he wants to be a teacher.
And-
I mean, that's something he wants to try someday. So
and-
it's like, well,
And
you
you're
could probably do it.
you know, I think we try to distill people down into caricatures of themselves into little sound bites, right? But like he's not a well, yeah, all right. Who am I talking about, right? Yeah.
Sound bites.
Yeah.
Sound bites.
Yeah. But so on the way in, I was listening to a podcast where they were talking about Microsoft, and they were talking about Bill Gates and how he was actually a bad guy. He was hyper competitive, did actual bad things to his competition, but now all anybody can talk about is how he's out there saving the world with his fortune. You know,
Right.
So can you rehabilitate your reputation even if it is tarnished? Of course you can. Of course you can. And I don't know. I think that it's pretty questionable, like how tarnished that reputation actually is. I think if you're rubbed the wrong way, personally, I think you have a grudge. I think if otherwise, if things worked your way, I think you're a defender. I think there's factions. I think people have their opinions, and they're going to, stick it out. But,
Okay, so
yeah.
before we continue, I'm sure Elliot would like to give a big ol' thank you to Release Wire and Newsmakers for sponsoring this thing we're doing.
No.
Is there like a commercial you could like hit a button and it would play?
Yeah,
like,
why don't you do
Release
that?
Wire and Newsmakers.
I actually have a pre-recorded commercial of that.
Oh yeah, you do.
I do, but I'm sure you don't have that ready
Next
to go.
time.
Because you did so much preparation.
Next election. Next year, when we're talking about the aldermanic race.
No, for real. So everything we're doing is funded by ReleaseWire. And so do you want me to give the whole spiel about ReleaseWire?
I'd like to listen to it.
Yeah.
I'm curious to know how this goes.
Well, I mean, okay, so I'm going to give my ad hoc version of this because I don't have any up-to-date information.
I'm sure ReleaseWire's creator is quaking in his boots, fearing what you're about to say.
Well, what do you want me to say about it?
That's up to you.
Quaking in his boots.
So, okay, so
you have a lot to live up to here.
yeah, okay. So ReleaseWire funds what we're doing primarily, right?
Right.
Because what we're doing obviously is not bringing in a whole ton of money, right? So, but what ReleaseWire does is helps promote primarily, I would say, small businesses, right? And organizations. So it's press release service. So they contact all the press services and help craft some of the press releases, right?
There's something going on over here.
You have to nod in what?
We got somebody posting on the llama about a mayoral winner.
Okay, well do we have a winner?
I don't know.
I don't know.
That's like we should probably check. I don't.
Okay.
Have the
Well,
I
there
mean,
was
it is Sean Dwayne, who is fairly reliable.
okay. Well, there was nothing in here before, so.
Well, Sean is very possibly at a party right now with Guy, and Guy seems to be able to find
47 to 47, Eric Genrick. Yep. Boop. So that's how they drop.
Really? It's done?
Yep.
He's the mayor?
Yep.
just like that.
Yep.
Abruptly?
11,421 votes to 8,296. That's almost 20,000 votes in. Oh, well, okay, plus 108 on the write-in.
Yeah.
222 no votes.
108.
I wonder if I beat Evans on the write-in.
You're the only
Who
valid
came in
write-in.
third?
You're the only valid rating candidate.
I just like to say, came in third place and I didn't spend a penny.
right. And
We should make you like a dollar store trophy.
Third from the top.
okay, so is that,
You know what? Those numbers sucked overall. I mean, we suck at voting.
yeah. So absolutely, and so I actually think that's a little higher than what I expected.
How many total?
So about 20,000 votes.
19,6, 19.
Yeah.
19,7. Yeah, you
yeah.
know, it's about 20,000 total because there were 222 that voted for other races and did not vote for mayor.
Yeah, yeah. So let's talk school board real quick. So the top vote getter, drum roll, is Eric Vanden Heuvel. That held steady.
Really, that's
Then Christina Shelton. And then Brenda Warren, right?
look at that showing Paul had almost 6,000 votes.
Did you say Eric,
John did well.
number one?
Yeah.
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 I guarantee that Mako bump, I think, took people would have taken people by.
Yeah, I think that probably helped a lot.
So I also saw a lot of paid advertising.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, not oh yeah, but yes.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I mean, I
Good
did.
job.
I'm just saying for me.
School board.
She vampired.
That, right. That's what I'm
Like,
thinking.
that's
Yeah.
kind of where
Yeah.
I was going. 'Cause
So-
I did some stuff for some of the other candidates, but it
Yeah.
wasn't like
Right.
spending. It's
Yeah.
like, here's a few bucks when you make me a video.
So, all right. So very quickly, let's see. So what about the okay, so in our area, 79 of 91 Hagedorn is beating Neubauer. What about the national?
That's 1,600 votes with 12 precincts to go. That's
Yeah. Yeah, it's close,
tough.
but that's the way our area is though, right? 50-50.
Yeah.
So is there a
State level
statewide?
currently, I've got 59% reporting with
Yeah.
52% for Neubauer.
Yeah, I think that's going to hold steady. Yeah. So, you guys have any other things you want to talk about? I wanted you
going to
to.
say bye real quick. Lily,
Bye.
Oh, are you
anything
leaving
you want
us?
to say?
Bye.
I thought we were going to party all night.
Yeah, she's, a little past her bedtime.
We got to go till 10.
Thanks for the cupcakes.
I have school.
Thanks for your insights about littering. And
I
the
mean,
roads and the
Lily,
trees.
your cupcakes are delicious.
Wait,
Make that frosting yourself.
did you make the cupcakes?
No.
Okay.
She should stay out of the way, though.
I stay out of the way for all sorts of things. Does that count?
That always counts.
Jacob's staying quiet though.
All right.
Hey, so what it was? Can you repeat the school board? Was it was Christina? No, Eric, Christina, Brenda.
Eric, Christina,
Yes.
Brenda, 1, 2, 3. Yep.
Yeah.
You know, there's if you want to go down that road for a minute.
Yeah.
One of the I don't know if I'm good on the microphone here. Maybe I need to lean in.
That's kind of the whole
Lean in.
rubber stamp activist person in the middle, kind of.
Just like you
Ran
said,
away
Joe,
with it,
right? About the school board dynamic then going
Yeah.
forward. Brenda has been the president for a while now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I mean, I think everybody would probably expect at this point that she will continue to be president. If you know anything about the school board, if it weren't her, who would it be? Is the question. Because I don't know if any of the other of them. I mean, if you have people who have full-time jobs, unless they quit their job, they're probably not going to be school board president. And who else is there then outside of Brenda?
Is that the criteria that we use?
No, but they have to want the job. They have to volunteer to put the time in to do it.
Well, what extra time are we asking of the president of the school board?
I think quite a bit.
But like for what reason though? Because it sounds like seriously though, it sounds like they defer a lot to the administration. You know.
I don't know. Yeah, maybe you could call up somebody and get them on the phone and ask. Too bad nobody here.
Too bad what's her name didn't show up.
Well, no, there was somebody else around. I don't want to. I mean, you know.
Oh yeah. Did he run away?
He went to a party.
Oh yeah. Did he think this was a party?
I think he just came by to see what it was.
Might have been almost promoting it as such.
I know.
Don't know. I was excited.
I know. No, that's good. That's good.
Oh, and I want to help.
I'm incapable of having a super fun party.
So,
I don't believe that.
what are we looking at for total number of people who voted in the mayoral race?
About 20,000.
That's pretty
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
I mean, we were.
That was much higher turnout than I had.
Right.
thought it would be.
So yeah, 5 minutes later, we were kind of all debunked on that. So I am super surprised about that. I mean, based on my own experience at the poll, and
What kind of percentage turnout is that? It's still really low.
I mean,
Well,
Joe, do you know what total number of eligible voters?
six. I bet it was close to 30%. I bet 20K was pretty close to 30%.
Hey,
probably.
you know what? There's that we hate partisan and nonpartisan races, but
Yeah.
partisanship raises voter turnout.
Yeah.
Positive.
Yeah. Does it?
I would think it probably.
Well, definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Screw that.
Everybody
other
go
guy.
vote.
I gotta vote. You know.
Yeah.
You also got to think. Oh, this is literally what I heard them say today. Multiple times.
Yeah.
This is the biggest Supreme Court election of Wisconsin history.
Oh my God.
Every 4 years, it's the biggest one of our
my
ever.
Well, to be fair, it is kind of important with
This will be the biggest presidential election of our lives.
the appeal that's coming up for the lame duck thing and all that.
Yeah.
That is important.
Is it? Is it?
Precedent.
Is it really?
It does.
I don't
I
know.
firmly believe that our state Supreme Court will be the big deciding factor on whether or not that type of thing can be pulled again in the future.
What was pulled?
The fact that right before Scott Walker left, the lame duck session and then stripped the governor of a bunch of powers.
Perfect. Sounds perfect to me.
Of course it does, Mr. I get a justice boner every time I hear about a government job being cut.
Wait, did this happen? Are justice boners a thing?
Well, when the new mayor starts axing people, make sure you're not standing too close to Elliot.
Is it Captain Justice now? Is that what we're gonna call you?
That would be awesome.
So it is at this point
shite.
officially safe to call Genrich the new mayor of Green.
But you know what?
Again,
So I can officially say that our new mayor has so far been afraid to come on the show.
Ooh, are you calling him out right now?
Yeah,
The old mayor came on
absolutely.
the show, right?
Does
Absolutely.
this mean I can smoke
Yeah.
weed yet? Can
Yeah, I'm actually
Here's a question. So what does anybody really expect to be different now?
zero.
No, it's
Media. Media will be different because there will be different people in it. There won't be
What?
any more Schmidt, right? There won't be any Schmidt parodies. There won't be any shows about Schmidt or anything. There won't be any news stories about Schmidt. It will be.
If you can just get the like Schmidt eye rolls and these,
before
and just start
before
plugging
we
them into
talk
every
about
video.
Sound bites and legacies. So to me, Jim Schmidt legacy will always be, look, I run this city, forever.
So
Always.
But you know what? He did reach out. Didn't he like reach out to you at one time and actually apologize?
And this is the thing. I think people think that I don't like the mayor, but he did, and that was a game changer. So I liked him for a while after that, and then he did something else to tick me off. And like for the most part, I'm just indifferent. I think that he can be a very nice man. I think he can be a very snarky man, but I can be nice and snarky too. So
right.
I don't know. I don't know. You know, as far as like if he was a good mayor, sometimes. But I will still always, that soundbite is always going to be the first thing.
So kind of like we were talking about, like what does it take to be president of the school board? What does it take to be a good mayor?
Oh, to be a good mayor. When you said, I thought you were just going to say mayor. I was going to say money. Money, lots and lots of money.
Not to become or to become anointed mayor, but like to do the job, right?
I'll tell you
what are you supposed to? What are you literally supposed to do?
Well,
and do
you know, one of the
right?
big campaign things was decorum at City Hall. But has there really been a lack of decorum in the last year?
No. Right.
So I mean, that's a huge thing to campaign on, but it wasn't really even news anymore.
Well, for me, like part of the reason why I supported Joe running, approachability. Somebody that can be humble. That to me is very important. Somebody that can also lead and somebody that's smart.
You know what though? Those are two different things. Somebody who's humble and somebody who can lead. Those are very rarely the same thing.
They are, but it is sure. But it is very possible to lead from behind. It is possible to stand behind your team. It's possible to give them the credit and to get the best out of them. I think it's going to your department heads and making sure that they're being held accountable, which they're not. I mean, look, there's some fantastic department heads, and there's some department heads that need that push. And I mean, look, Eric flat out told me that the rest of their appointments is basically going to be an audition to see if he wants to keep them. And that would put me on alert. If I was a department head and that's what I was told, I'd be like, all right, I better get some potholes filled.
I think we all agree,
that
our new mayor needs to come on this show and explain how to pronounce his name.
And explain why, when asked to be on prior to the election, we got ignored. Because that'll be actually the first question. Because the other candidates didn't ignore us. And the sitting mayor didn't ignore us when asked to be on. You know, other people don't ignore.
When he was in the height of controversy.
Yeah, he was in the hot seat and he said some bad things, and he got called out for it. And you know, and good on him, right? And I'm not getting a haircut. I don't care what anybody says.
You shouldn't. Did he tell you to?
I hear there's a majority. It ain't happening.
Man, oh man.
It's
I'll tell you, I love Green Bay. I love this community. And it's sad, but there is a small group of people that like really pay attention to what's going on in politics.
Well, here we are.
And
We're
it's
here.
right.
I don't think that you can count me as somebody that I kind of pay attention.
No, you actually pay attention.
Oh yeah,
a lot.
I would put you in that group
Really?
of someone who knows what the hell's going on.
Maybe you're not paying attention because
hey, if you
people
got that
aren't
text
paying
this morning and
attention.
said who's the Democrat, you could have told them.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. I would have said no more. Write them in.
That's a great point. It's a very small group.
Thinking 109.
It really is. I mean, so you know, we have our little political Facebook groups and Facebook groups and the podcast. These are measured in hundreds of people, not thousands. And
Which is why we are not making any money whatsoever.
Right. But I mean, still, out of 20,000 votes, even though that is hundreds, these are the hundreds that are influential.
Wait, are you saying that our little shows don't have reaches in the thousands? Because mine actually does.
Some of those things go nationwide,
But
which is
by
cool.
thousands, it's
like 1,000.
Low
A
thousand.
little over.
Some episodes
But
that
still,
do
that's
very well.
that's something. That's
Right.
a small slice.
No.
To start for.
I'm not. It's not. This is a positive.
Okay. Oh.
There were only 20,000 people that voted.
Oh, the campaign manager.
Turn that off. We don't need to hear that. Oh wait,
My new chief of staff, sorry, Celestine.
my new chief.
I made promises already.
That's all I think.
Oh wait, what?
All right.
I don't understand. I thought that was grassroots.
So is marijuana decriminalized yet in Green
Well,
Bay?
maybe that's what he meant by grassroots.
Yeah.
I want to say Jim's last day is like April 16th.
Oh yeah.
There's a state statute that in a mayoral election, there's a 14-day period between the election and the time that the new mayor has to leave. And then that 14-day period can be spent moving out, assimilating the new person, having that new person sitting in all the meetings and everything all the way through. And then on that 14th day, then the mayor's out. So I believe April 16th is going to be his last day.
So is
because I'm sure he's not leaving at 9. he'll do the full 2, you know.
So yeah. So what's the procedure? I mean, so is it up to the two of them?
It is. I mean, look, Eric is basically. Jim will invite Eric to anything that's going on from here on out. I talked to Donna the other day, and she just said that when Paul Jaden left office, Jim walked in clueless, that Paul would not help Jim with anything.
Oh.
So Jim walked in without a clue on how to be a mayor. And it, look, it took a while, and then he learned it too good.
Yeah.
But
and
they said they don't want to do that to the next mayor,
There's a
so
soundbite.
that's why Jim was,
Well, that
Get
sort
rid
of
of all of his
explains some of
stuff
some of the attitude that changed over the years.
But cleaning out the offices, getting everything done, and Donna said whoever the next mayor is, Jim is inviting him to every single meeting, all
think
the
that's awesome.
development team meetings and everything. He said he wants the new mayor to come in and like hit the ground running and be ready to go. So,
Good.
Look, great, yeah, that's nice because he could just say, hey, I'm leaving on the 5th, you're in, and walk away because that's what happened to him. So.
I got kind of a weird question. I don't know if you'd be able to speak to it as Alder and when you retired as Alder, but when you're talking about the mayor Schmidt cleaning out his desk and whatever, there's got to be a bit of sadness to that. Like, yay, new things moving ahead, but at the same time, it's like any big change like that, it probably almost feels like a loss. I wonder if he's going to be sad.
I would imagine that he's going to have a hard time figuring out what to do with himself because you remember he wasn't an 8 to 4 mayor. He was a 6:30 to 6:30, 7, 8, 9 mayor.
Right.
And it was 7 days a week.
Yeah.
So he took Packer games off.
Right.
He was like, I don't do anything on Packer Sundays, and that was pretty much it. So 16, 18, 20 Sundays a year was his times off.
You know what? One thing with all the changeover in City Hall with like the alderpersons and stuff in the last 6 years, one thing that I noticed is the people that that are the chairs of the different committees. When you're new and you don't know how to run a meeting, it's brutal. And when you are 4 years in and you still don't know how to run a meeting, it's even more brutal. One thing that, as much as I dislike the mayor for many different reasons, he knew how to run a city council meeting, sometimes too well.
Right.
But no, I mean, like he kept the meeting
a little
moving.
too good at it.
He knew what was supposed to happen, when it was supposed to happen. He knew when to ask the question of who's the person that's kind of running in the background that does the different stuff, the agenda stuff.
Chris reads off the agenda as it runs through.
Yeah, so he kind of
she brings up
consults
each.
with her as they're going along. I mean, he knows exactly where to go, what the rules are. I mean, I'm assuming he didn't know that when he first started as mayor. It probably took a while.
He was a county supervisor, so I mean, he probably had the idea of Robert's rules, but it's.
I mean, he kind of
changes, yeah.
It'll be interesting to see how Genrick gets into that because we're going to go from somebody who's been doing it a long time to like.
And he has no executive experience.
No, that's the thing. I mean, he's never even vice chaired a committee. He never chaired one, never vice chaired one. You just, stood behind Dave Hansen.
Yeah.
So, I mean, Dave was at the microphone and Eric was standing behind him.
Like, people thought that he was a shoo-in, and I'm like, I don't know that. I don't think he was the most qualified.
Well, the voting does show he does have that majority, though.
Oh yeah, Eric is the mayor. I mean, and
Oh,
look,
that's
it
what-
was fair
that's
and
what-
square.
that's what
I mean,
shows it. Oh.
there's no question
the
about
election?
There's no hanging chads here. Okay, Eric.
That's true. Trump is the best president we could have had. That's true. That's true. That's how we choose these things. That's how we gauge quality.
Look, I mean, I live here. My kids go to school here. I mean, I
You're
wish
vested.
everybody. I am vested. I wish.
I love
hope
that word.
I really, really pray that everybody who got elected tonight is like highly successful.
So,
I do too.
Maybe not necessarily highly successful in their agendas, but very, very highly successful in leading a strong city, continuing to move things forward development-wise, cleaning up the budget, while still maintaining and keeping our services where they're at.
Hey, if
I
their
think we're all
agenda is to
campaign
make
promises.
Green Bay awesome again, then great.
Yeah. Green Bay is better now, I think, than it was 20 years ago.
Of course.
And I lived here 20 years ago.
Saying
I live here
again
now,
was-
and I'm much.
Annoying. Yeah.
things are going to be interesting. I'm kind of in an interesting spot here because I've lived in Green Bay basically my entire life, and when Jim Schmidt became mayor, I was 6.
Wow.
So throughout pretty much my entire life, Jim Schmidt has been the mayor.
Jim
the
was
face
52.
of Green Bay, right?
I know that's not true because I was at his 50th birthday party.
You were 6. So generationally speaking,
Right.
he's really the only mayor you've ever known.
Exactly.
Yeah. Wow.
So like this is really like the end of one era.
Yeah.
Whether or not things will be different,
It'll be
who
different.
knows?
Right.
It was different even.
Well, there are a
between-
lot of people that are like Matt LaFleur. There are a lot of people like Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah.
They grew up with Brett Favre.
Right.
Look, I'm not saying Jim Schmidt is Brett Favre and Eric Genrich is Aaron Rodgers, but if they can have back-to-back on the successes of the growth of the city.
Yes.
Now, disagree what you will about the way Jim may have handled things at City Hall, and I, as you know, definitely disagreed with a lot of the way Jim handled things at City Hall. City's in a better place now than it was 16 years ago. And financially, we've got some budget issues. Infrastructurally speaking, we've definitely got some infrastructure issues. But the next guy needs to fix that stuff, and he needs to make that his focus. And he'll be judged for it in 4 years when he's up for election again.
So I think that segues into how did you phrase your question on here? You said about the campaign promises or something.
Are you talking to me?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. The Green Bay debt and campaign promises.
Yeah. So what was obviously that meant something. I don't know exactly what you were alluding to there.
Most of the campaign promises that were made was we have to do something about the debt.
Well, no, I mean,
But I didn't really see
number one
plans
issue for
for that.
everybody was we need to fix the roads.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
You know, we're going to spend X percent per year. We're going to fix X percent of roads per year. I mean, none of it was all kind of glossy. It wasn't really,
random.
It didn't mean anything.
Yeah.
And none of the candidates outside of, Joe and maybe Mortensen really said, hey, that all sounds great, but there's a budget and there's debt and
Right.
you can't really
Right.
it's really tight. You can't just wave a magic wand and say we're going to do 10% of the roads. I mean,
Right.
even if you had $100 million, actually being able to plan out, get the equipment and the labor and everything to do 10% of roads wouldn't happen.
3% of the roads is 14 miles.
Yeah, I mean, it's just not going to
And the city's 14 miles by 14 miles approximately square. So you do a mason from one end to the other in 1 year.
That actually kind of goes back to kind of what Elliot is saying before. Like,
Yeah.
one of the only things that we can maybe throw at Genrich as a problem about his personality right now is he hasn't been willing to talk about this.
Right.
Talk about that issue.
He's talked a
about
lot,
the
but hasn't really
issue.
said anything.
Yeah,
Well-
yeah. I mean, he's done advertisements and he's been.
But he hasn't had to.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
So when he gets in there and he starts looking at the budget and he starts talking to the city engineers and DPW and he starts looking at, all right, we needed to get this done, and they say, okay,
Show me the money.
well, this is what we can get done.
Right.
No, we need to get done more than that.
Right.
Right.
Well, no, this is all we can get done. This is the maximum we could get done.
Right.
How the PR side of that is going to be, what is he going to be able to keep people's attention in a positive way?
The
Or
people
is
that voted
the-
for him
are
will
the
not
rails
keep.
gonna
They're,
come
the
off?
people that voted for him are not going to keep him accountable.
No.
They won't. You know that.
So I get the question is, we all know that he's not going to be able to make that promise. He's not going to keep that.
I actually thought you were talking about Buckley.
No, all of them.
And-
Okay.
Matter.
Oh, okay,
Both-
okay,
They
okay.
both made promises that the budget can't keep. I mean, it's that simple.
Well, there was the argument, throughout the primary and then into the general about the city pays 20% toward their debt service. That we have so many bills, we're paying 20%. Look, our minimum payment is probably closer to like 13 to 14%. And budgetarily, we've always paid between probably 16 and 20% because the city can't make a profit. Whatever you bring in needs to be paid out. So the debt service was always something that Schmidt was like, look, if we're paying 20% this year, we could pay 18%. We would have all this extra money. Where would we put it? Well, you could put it toward roads, but now you're going to be overpaying because you only have a May to October building season in the first place. There's only so many feet of road you can actually do unless you start bringing in other contractors that maybe were higher bidders, because one company can only do so much. Whoever won that bid can only get so much done. And you start overpaying for that. He's like, I'd rather pay down debt than overpay for a road to get fixed.
And that's something that I'm not aware of that.
So look,
That's a really good
Eric
point.
could come in and say, we're paying 17.6% on our debt service right now. Our minimum payment is 14. So let's pay 15%. Let's overpay and take this other 2.6% and hire a company and overpay them. But let them come in and fix some extra roads, and then, man, am I going to look good because these extra roads are getting fixed.
You know what? I'd like to counterpoint that.
And it's possible.
Let's say we overpay by 3% on that bid.
Yep.
To get another couple miles of roads done this year.
Yep.
Everything is going up in price. Construction is skyrocketing constantly. So if you're overpaying this year, are you
versus paying
compared
regular
to what
price
paying
next
it
year?
Next year, are you really overpaying?
Well, the other thought on that too is that overpaying on your debt service is helping you keep your Moody's rating.
Yeah, you're right.
So as soon as you start dropping what you're paying,
It's like
then
when
all of a sudden you're
it's like I
establishing
pay
a
minimum
trend.
payment on my credit card, right?
Yeah, right. You make minimum payments and pay it forever.
So
I think that there's a lot more budgetarily that needs to be looked at because, look, in 2012, that was a pretty conservative, I think, council that got elected that year.
Right.
With Tom Slottick and myself, I remember sitting in the finance meeting and going through the budget book, our very first finance meeting. We were cutting $300 out of prescription glasses for the public works department. We were cutting $400 out of paper for the police department. I mean, we were like really nitpicking this.
Love it.
2013 was even tighter. I mean, line by line through this budget.
Yeah.
That's why I was every time Buckley came out with I'm going to go line by line.
Yeah,
through
it was
line,
done.
I just laughed because I'm like, we've been doing that for the last 8 years.
Right.
What are you talking about, man?
2014 was a big change because in 2014, so recycling alone, this is just one line item. Brown County used to pay the city of Green Bay $15 a ton for our recycling. So when those tipper cards came out, it was like, everybody can have a tipper card, a blue one. We'll give everybody 2 blue bins if they want them because it was a revenue source.
Yeah.
And of course, we were paying for trash. But from 14 to 15, in 1 year, we went from a $300,000 a year revenue to a $300,000 a year expense. They started charging us $15 a ton because the cost of recycling went up and the value of the recycled goods, aluminum, everything went down.
China.
And they weren't making money anymore.
That was 14?
I want to say it was 2013 or 14, in between those years. And
we know that
so,
it's only getting a lot worse.
Yeah, it's
right.
a lot
So
worse.
we had a $600,000 swing
Yeah.
after we had already gone line by line through this budget and cut just like $100 here, $200 there.
And that's where, like, I know Ellie kind of rolled his eyes and
Yep.
laughed when I said, like, we've already done that.
I know.
If Buckley wanted to make a point about the budget, instead of saying we're going to go line by line
Right.
through this budget, he should have said, I'm going to go in this budget and I'm going to find something that we don't need to do and I'm going to cut it. Big thing, and say this is not the city's responsibility and we're going to cut
That's what we
if
need.
That's
Right.
what if you want
Yes.
to make a point about
Yes.
cutting the budget, because we've already
Yep.
gone line. We've already caught.
Well,
cut
yeah.
those little things.
And I mean, we had $89,000 grant that we used to get from the state of Wisconsin. That $89,000 recycling grant was cut. So, I mean, we were at $700K just on the recycling part of the budget, on the trucks driving around picking stuff up. Remember propane costs? When propane was like in $1.40, $1.50? And I mean, great, now it's down to like 99 cents or whatever, so you can actually make a little money back. Salt costs for the roads was going up, and then that's when we brought in the brine machines to try to offset how much the salt had spiked. I mean, we did a lot of things to try to keep things level, and we did. We kept that mill rate flat for like 10 years, a penny one way or the other, but I mean, it was essentially flat for a decade. And then all of a sudden, hey, the food contract, it just came in for the wildlife sanctuary and it's $17,000 higher. And, oh, by the way, the, fuel prices have gone up, just gasoline. I mean, look, if Tony Evers wants to put this gas tax into effect, I don't know, what's the rules with municipalities? Are they getting taxed on this or do they not pay the gas tax? Because we have hundreds of trucks on the road doing thousands of miles a day. And you tell me that okay, great, we brought in this great revenue source that's going to help balance the budget down at the state, but we're just going to pass it on to the municipality because someone's got to pay for all this fuel that we're still using.
if they fill up at the Quick Trip, they got to pay it.
Yeah.
I don't think they do.
No?
I think
They've got the state
The
cards,
special card. Yeah. Okay.
They don't
Yeah.
pay the tax.
Yeah. If they, yeah. So,
So there's
we got to
a lot of
wrap it up.
costs- a lot of costs that
We
got
got
passed
we got to wrap it up.
municipalities.
Jacob's getting mad at me.
It's past bedtime.
It's past Jacob's bedtime. Yeah.
Oh.
No. So we told everybody.
Give that guy another cupcake.
We told everybody.
Sugar
10,
him up.
we told everybody 10 o'clock.
Is it-
And I can't stand hanging out with Jacob past 10 o'clock. So it's actually So
No, it looks like the state Supreme Court probably not going to be called till tomorrow, but all the
Really?
local one, yeah, it's pretty close.
it's close. So Neubauer's not stolen.
51 to 49.
Oh,
Did Streckenbach win?
73%.
it's Streckenbach win. Congratulations to Troy Streckenbach. Yeah.
Yes, he did win.
Yeah.
And congratulations to Eric.
75% of the vote.
Congratulations there.
Congratulations, Eric. I
Eric
mean,
and Eric.
you worked hard. Yep, the Erics. That's good.
Yep.
Congratulations, school board members.
Yeah.
I'm here if you ever want me to nag on you. Feel free to reach out.
You know how many votes Joe got yet?
We won't find it out till tomorrow. They don't count the write-ins till tomorrow. They just know there were 108
100.
total write-ins, but I talked to Pat Evans for a while today, and he's like, people were saying they're going to write me in. And I was like, why?
So we got 100.
You know, so.
That's good.
But hey, a lot of people write themselves in. Heck,
100
I've
is good.
seen people write in Hitler, so they all count.
They all count for you because you're the only registered write-in, right?
The ones with my name on them do.
Well, that's how it should be. Otherwise, why should you have to register?
Hey, I thought 25 would be a victory, so.
Yeah. No, it's good, and I'm sure you hit more than 25. And
hit that.
it's all about the principle. We talked about that before.
Yeah,
so.
it is. I did not.
Anyway, that's it. You have anything else we got to say before we close out?
Yeah, I'm going to say that we had a lot of fun. Thanks to Joe and Wendy for coming on screen with us, and thanks to everyone else who's been hanging out.
And Lily.
Oh, and Lily.
Lily had some good insights.
Yeah.
She'll be the next mayor, right?
Well,
Could she run it? 12 years old? She'll be 12 years old?
I don't know. Can we change that? I
don't
think we should.
Do you have an 18? Do you have to be an 18 run?
I don't know.
Yeah, I think you do.
Maybe she could
Yeah.
run for alderman.
Yeah.
Also, if you're watching this right now, that means you're on YouTube. So take a moment to subscribe, hit the bell for notifications, that stuff, so you don't miss this. If we do it again, which we totally will be, but better, right, Elliot?
I think we can't do worse.
Hey, the video worked today, right?
Yes.
The cupcakes were good.
And if you'd like,
Cupcakes were awesome. I don't typically like cupcakes, and they were awesome. Yeah.
and if you'd like to help keep this show going,
Yeah.
and, so we can help keep getting information out and do stuff like this and do events, you can support us on Patreon.
What's the heckling in the crowd? Thanks for the crowd for being here, and
The troll guy?
the troll guy, and thanks for everybody who participated in my little poll.
It was this
And,
or the afro.
It was good.
I like
Yeah.
this one.
Thanks everybody for the fun. Good night. Thanks Green
for
Bay.
listening to Political Radar. To ensure that you never miss an episode, subscribe on iTunes or your favorite podcast app. To stay up to date, visit politicalradar.com or connect with us on Facebook or Twitter.